been indicted on mortgage fraud claims. Boy, she's going to look great in a jumpsuit. What is that, a XXX? Don't worry, from what I see on Chicago News, Potbelly Women, that's in. We'll discuss that and so much more after news.
Good afternoon. 62 sunny degrees in Chicago in the AM 560 newsroom on AM 560 The Answer. It'll be sunny the rest of the afternoon and clear skies this evening with a low of 50 degrees. I'm Patrick Johnson, and here's what's happening. There are two federal court hearings today on President Trump's deployment of National Guard troops to Democrat-led cities, even as Guard soldiers begin patrolling a Chicago area immigration facility that's become a focal point for protests. And with the state case challenging the president's use of the National Guard, the war of words heating up.
Earlier Wednesday, Trump posted on social media, Governor J.B. Pritzker and Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson should be in jail. Pritzker told MSNBC to come and get him.
He's a wannabe dictator, and there's one thing I really want to say to Donald Trump. If you come for my people, you come through me, so come and get me.
During a roundtable discussion at the White House Wednesday about Antifa, which Trump's declared a domestic terrorist organization, Trump elaborated.
When you have a group of people where the police call off the safety for ICE officials, I've understood that, and I've read it today in numerous journals, that that's illegal.
I'm Greg Bishop.
This newscast, a service of AlmostFreeTeeth.com. Overpaying for dental implants is over. If you have medical PPO insurance, find out how you could save 90% off on average. You get your smile back. Check if you qualify today at AlmostFreeTeeth.com. Time now for the AM 560 Business Beat, sponsored by Access One Business IT Services and Support.
I'm Charles Payne, and this is the Fox Business Report.
The major average is ending lower after record runs on valuation worries and gold pulling back following a sharp rally in recent weeks. Most of the 11 S&P 500 sectors were lower, with industrials leading the charge while consumer staples gained. Tech stocks were mixed today. However, shares of NVIDIA rose nearly 2% on reports that the U.S. approved several $1 billion worth of NVIDIA chip exports to the United Arab Emirates. Airline stocks taking off after Delta posted stronger than forecast quarterly results and said it was aiming for a record holiday season. Its stock rose 3.5%. The Dow winners, Salesforce, NVIDIA, and Goldman Sachs. The Dow decliners, Travelers, Boeing, and Honeywell. The Dow falling 243 points. The Nasdaq lower by 19. S&P 500 lower by 19. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Hillary Barsky, invested in you.
Larry Elder talks directly to Democrats.
Even if you hate this man's guts, isn't it better after they deployed troops in D.C., where there was a dramatic decline in homicide, a dramatic decline in robberies? Don't you like the idea that there might be a few more people alive who otherwise would be dead but for what Trump did?
The Larry Elder Show. Weeknights at 8, right before Shaun Hannity at 10 on AM 560. The Answer.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. Ever wonder why the big wireless companies want you on an unlimited plan? It's because they need you to help cover the costs of the 20-somethings who are using a lot of data every month. Fact is, according to the latest research studies, most people 50 and up, like me, only use 12 gigs or less each month. Don't get bamboozled by big wireless. At Consumer Cellular, pick what suits your needs. Whether it's 1 gig, 5, 10, or unlimited, the point is, pay for exactly what you need and nothing more. We use the same towers as the big guys, but since we don't own and maintain them, we can pass the savings on to you. Our plans start at just $20 a month, and you'll get the best customer service in the business. I want to invite you to join the millions of people who choose something better than big wireless, because if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Chicago businesses. Your phone, internet, and IT should work well 24/7. But when it doesn't, who are you calling? At Overseas Help Desk? If you want clear, reliable local experts, consider Access One. Access One has been powering Chicago businesses with secure, reliable IT solutions for over 30 years from our headquarters right here in the West Loop. Whether it's VoIP phones, dedicated internet, managed cybersecurity, cloud backups, or 24/7 support, Access One has you covered. Access One is Chicago-owned, Chicago-run, and serving thousands of companies from Naperville to the North Shore and everywhere in between. We're rated top 5% in customer customer satisfaction, a Better Business Bureau A+ rated business, and trusted by law firms, clinics, tech startups to manufacturers. Let's talk about making your IT work well. Call 800-804-8333 or visit AccessOneInc.com. That's AccessOneInc.com. Tech made personal, locally.
How can you get from here to there? We've got the answer from the AM 560 Traffic Center.
Good afternoon and happy Friday. Here is a check of your roads. No delays on the outbound Edens, the Kennedy, 50 minutes downtown out to the airport. And the outbound Eisenhower is an hour. Post Office to 390 Stevenson in. A crash at Lamont on the shoulder. 40 in from 355 back out is an hour. Southbound 55 north of Arsenal, there was a crash in the left lane. On the outbound Ryan, 35 minutes to get to 95th with an accident at 83rd on the shoulder. Outbound Dan Ryan slows 31st to Marquette. DuSable Lakeshore Drive heavy either way. Tri-State, we're seeing tie-ups, especially southbound with an accident as well at Roosevelt. Other tollways look good. Traffic is a service of Salem Surround, providing your business with industry-leading digital marketing strategy designed to surround your target audience and drive action. Go to surroundchicago.com today. From the AM 560 The Answer Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchek.
Now, your official weather forecast.
Tonight, expect mainly clear skies with a low of 49. Tomorrow, anticipate some sunshine followed by increasing cloudiness, reaching a high of 68. Tomorrow night, skies will become partly cloudy with a slight chance of a shower and a low of 49. Moving into Saturday, prepare for sunny conditions with a high of 64. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this hour of The Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. Get top dollar for guns and military items. DonleyAuctions.com.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
From the streets of Melrose Park to the trading floor of the Merc, he's fought for every dollar he's ever earned. And now, with personal liberty and our system of capitalism under assault in America, he's here to seize back our rights from the government. With a cigar in one hand and a copy of the Declaration of Independence in the other, he's Shaun Thompson. And this is the Shaun Thompson Show.
Some folks are born made to wait.
She's going to look terrible, man. That might be a quadruple X. Orange jumpsuit on that big woman. Woo! Got some shoulders on her. Make Michelle Obama feel petite. Letitia has finally been indicted.
Back, we have some breaking news. Sources are telling the Associated Press a grand jury has indicted New York Attorney General Letitia James on a fraud charge. James was indicted in the Eastern District of Virginia on one count after a mortgage fraud investigation.
No, as you know, Trump has been pushing for charges against.
That's a shame right there. See, because it doesn't give you the perspective of what the scam is in politics. You know, earlier today, I had talked about Mike Lawler, a Republican from New York, who is a scumbag. Mike Lawler, who held up the one big beautiful bill, which cut taxes for everyone in the country so that New York mafia state could be subsidized from the rest of us through a rise in what they can claim on their state and local taxes called SALT. Now he's going to come to the rescue. He's going to be a hero. And then you look at Mike Lawler, a Republican. You look at where his money is. Now, his money isn't in anything he ever did in his life because he's a bust-out. But in 1 year, he raises $8.2 million, all from lawyers and Wall Street and all scumbags that want to be subsidized from our dollar. So this theater that we see now called the shutdown, it's just that. It's television and soap operas for stupid people. That's what it is. But Letitia, rather than talk about Letitia, she's just doing what Joe Biden did in the 70s. Joe Biden bought a DuPont mansion in 1980, 1981. He didn't have any money. The mansion at the time was $800,000 or $700,000, which back in the late 70s, big money. As a senator, he made $67,000. How did he do it? Because you get a crooked mortgage company like Countrywide, and they give you a sweetheart deal, and they fudge the paperwork. And by the way, half the time they don't pay the mortgage, and if they do, it's out of their war chest. It's not like you and me busting our ass and sweating for mortgage payments. Chris Dodd, that's my absolute favorite. If you don't remember politics, Chris Dodd, he was a John Boehner Kennedy as if they had an unholy forest preserve baby. He was a drunk who combed his hair and thought he was Ted Kennedy. He was on the take for Countrywide, too. 2003, and his wife and him, they refied 5,000 times. Well, this scandal comes out in 2008. And the head, or the CEO, was his buddy. They're all friends. They all hang around. They go golfing. And he admits he gave him, at the time, a sweet, like 5 points off the mortgage. There were no costs in the beginning. He basically never made the mortgage payment. Chris Dodd. And you know what the penalty was? Gatsangul. He went on to name a bill called the Dodd-Frank. By the way, Barney Frank, same fracking deal. Same deal. They all get the same deal. Not like me and you and your kids and your fathers. This whole fracking government, it's all about the illusion of what it takes to be a decent person versus the scum of the earth, whether it's Chris Dodd or Barney Frank or Letitia James or Mike Lawler. I'm throwing you in the mix, stupid. That you were ready to sacrifice everybody in this country for your crooked, mafia-run New York. It's absolutely nauseating. So when you hear this slander by these, I guess they're reporters, right? This child who got a job at CNN. What the frack does she know? Could she name anything we just talked about? Does she have any concept of Countrywide and Chris Dodd or Barney Frank, this stupid idiot?
James, for several months, posting on social media without citing any evidence that she's guilty of anything.
Here you go, you stupid fraud propagandist moron. You got a big job, though, on mainstream media.
In 2023, papers show she claimed a house in Norfolk, Virginia as her primary residence. That qualifies for a lower mortgage rate. But you know, at the time she's been serving in public office in Albany, New York, that's 500 miles away.
You cannot buy a piece of property and state that you're going to occupy it and not occupy it. When you buy a property and you acknowledge you are going to own or occupy it, your down payment criteria is different, as well as your interest rate. The interest rates normally on an investment property will be anywhere from 3/4 to a full percentage point higher.
This is for us, the plebes, the serfs. But notice that these morons in media, with no evidence, we've had the evidence for years. And just like Chirac, just like New York, New Jersey, pick Philly, pick a Democrat enclave. The judges and the government are scum, mafia, insulate each other from the realities we all face. This evidence been there for years. And that fat pig lied about saying her father was her husband to get a VA loan. Scumbag with her big ass. That's got to be a yardstick of ass crack.
You will also have to most likely pay discount points, which is an additional cost at the time that you close on the property. If it shows on her settlement statement she didn't pay discount points, she got an owner-occupied interest rate. In order to be an owner-occupied...
You know what I get aggravated about? How many hundreds of thousands of people today just got denied to buy a house. Just got denied because they did everything right. But this fat slob, bust-out Democrat, she got how many mortgages? 4? 3? Doesn't matter. They're all frickin' lies.
Of a piece of property, you must live in the property for the first 12 months after purchase.
And no, that's just us. When you're a Democrat, the rules are there are no rules.
Referrals also show that she bought this brownstone in Brooklyn, New York, but misrepresented the number of units in it.
How do you buy a 5-unit property and turn it into a 4-unit property? You just cannot do that. When the appraiser goes into that property, they're going to see that there's 5 kitchens, 5 separate living quarters. She must have had some type of connection between herself and the initial lender and the appraiser in order to...
Maybe it's like that greasy scum Tony Resco and his real estate broker of the year that nobody saw, Rod Blagojevich's wife, when they assembled 2 separate parcels to make it look like the bust-out who was laid on his ghetto Bentley. Barack Obama could buy that creep show mansion he's got in Hyde Park. Maybe it's like that. It's all the same. The names are different. They are crooked as Grand Avenue. In the bank, the mortgage brokers, all the Democrats that touch these deals, all the same. Low-living, low-character Democrats.
Get away with doing this as a residential. The other fraud comes into play. She did it owner-occupied again. Whoa. Fannie Mae Freddie Mac says you can have multiple owner-occupied.
Now, you know what happens, right? once they get this thief loan that they, by the way, these Democrat scum, they'll get a loan for a Great Dane if they want to. It goes into the system, and then the people buy it, and it's all mixed in with the good. And when this bust-out scum doesn't make her payments, what happens? We all pay the cost, just like 2009.
A new charge for Letitia James's mortgage fraud case as a document from Citizens Bank in 2021.
Oh, wait, let's get to the credit line. She's got a credit line on the thing, too. Mortgage to the teeth. And this slob gets a credit line.
Properties. But you have to live in it for a year, vacate it, and go find the next property. That can make this case really big and not only put her in prison, but a lender and the appraiser. And here's the other thing, too, that you have to remember. She did refinance this property using the TARP program that was approved in 2008. She was able to get herself a much lower interest rate, even though her income was much higher than what the individual is qualified to get. So,
like old Barney Frank, he was running a homosexual call club out of his brownstone in Washington, D.C. It's like Chris Dodd. Joe Biden bought a DuPont mansion. This is how it works. This is why when you look at who contributes to the congressman, oh, the bankers. Oh, bankers, though? Mortgage companies? Oh, mortgage companies. They contribute too, right? Because it's systemically corrupt.
She scammed it that way as well.
She bought another building with her father as co-signer, calling herself his wife.
By her co-signing with her dad to buy a piece of property and putting on the application as being married, they therefore were able to combine their income together and combine their debts together for qualifying.
Every decent Chicagoan, American, everybody listening to this show live and the podcast tomorrow, if you're not a crooked rat Democrat, you're going to jail for one of these offenses. This is 3 different fraud cases, 3 different properties. You're going to jail with one.
Purposes. If she acknowledged that she was married, but she wasn't married, that's fraud. You cannot do that. Then we find out that she's married to her father. How is that possible? That's total.
Ilhan Omar married the brother, but, you know, that whole thing with the culture and then the goat in the backyard, yeah.
Total misrepresentation. When we take a loan application on any individual, if they acknowledge they're divorced, we need to know that because we need to know if there's an obligation for alimony or child support. If you're going to tell us you're married to your father, what's the reason for this? Are you trying to pull a fast one in order for him to become the owner-occupant?
I just want you to know this. When you go home and you turn on the boob tube, or when you listen to some moron so-called reporter in Chicago, and this is a weaponization of no, it's not. It's just like Chicago, where the lowlifes cover each other's ass, and they insulate themselves in a mafia that used to be a great city.
Shows she listed her Brooklyn property as a single-family home to get a $200,000 credit line mortgage. Whoa. James is accused of misrepresenting her Brooklyn.
So on top of all of it, you needed another $200K to walk around, huh? Probably to get yourself in that Lane Bryant costume you wear. Yeah, where'd you go? The tent maker to get that? And you think it's exclusive to just the fat ones? No, the pencil neck geeks, they do the same thing.
Trump administration source telling The Angle that a criminal investigation of Adam Schiff is underway, conducted by U.S. Attorney's Office in Maryland.
By the way, Letitia is James, her workout partner, that Lisa Cook on the Fed. Same fracking nonsense. Same thing. And in there lies the real problem, because you're used to it now. Now it's normal, right? It's absolutely normal, and we'll just pretend that there are no real costs. Well, you know what the costs are? It destroys the cost of living, the pricing of everything for everybody who's decent. And if you're not good at making money, well, then that leaves you as one of the willful serfs to the Democrats who can't afford a decent life. So when you hear the nonsense of the communists that come around and they start preaching about giving everybody a house for free and taking things away and everybody deserves a house and everybody deserves food, that's how you get a susceptible acceptance of communism. And it all starts right here in the first original fraud.
Property officially documented as a 5-unit building as a single-family home on that 2021 mortgage application.
I wonder, would the new communist Islamo-Nazi mayor, would he seize that and turn it into people for the people's property?
To afford the more than 12% increase in rent-stabilized apartments under this Mayor Adams administration, and struggle to afford what has now grown more than $20,000 a year in childcare costs. And so what we are releasing today is the cost saved calculator, where you can go to Zahran for NYC.com /
There's not a communist or a socialist or a Democrat that can do math. So I dare you to download the calculator.
/calculator and see just how much each of these big 3 items will save you in your lives. Because when it comes to free buses, each rider will save over $2,000 a year. That's,
you know that? Free buses, you save money. Free rent, you save money. Free food, you're really saving money. You're going to live as good as a Soviet citizen circa 1968.
$1.3 billion a year for all riders. When it comes to universal child care, we're speaking about $22,200 a year, which together is $5.5 billion for every New Yorker across this city.
So who pays for it? Answer that, moron. Who pays for it? And the answer is, thanks to Republicans in New York, the whole country. Right, Mike Lawler? That's why anybody coming out of this rat hole, anybody that's used to this mafia leadership, I don't care if they tell you they're a Republican like Mike Lawler or they tell you they're a communist like the Islamo-Nazi, understand the destruction they do to everything because more people wish to be in on it than are repulsed by it. The good people, they already have a plan.
Start spreading the news. I'm leaving today. I want no friggin' part of it. New York, New York. These Hugo Boss shoes are longing to stray and take an Uber to LaGuardia, ta-ta, New York. I want to wake up in a city that's safe and free without that slick jive-ass mayor, Comrade Mamdani.
Too bad they could say any Democrat area. It's all the same. 312-642-5600.
He believes in freedom, capitalism, and individual liberty. And because of that, he's become an enemy of the state. He's Shaun Thompson, and this is The Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
If you're looking to purchase a new home or refinance your existing home, you need to call Team Hochberg, your trusted local lender. Bridget, first-time homebuyer, posted this 5-star review about her mortgage experience. Team Hochberg made one of the biggest and nerve-wracking milestones in our life such an enjoyable experience. David and Anna talked us through every step in our home buying journey with a very tight timeline and made us feel comfortable every step of the way. We put in an offer at the beginning of November, and with Team Hochberg's help and expertise, we're able to close on our home by the end of the same month. I couldn't say better things about them and our experience. Team Hochberg all the way. Thank you, Bridget. If you'd like this type of 5-star service on your next mortgage, call Team Hochberg now at 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. That number one more time and that website you love, 855-563-2843, and go to 56david.com. Lower.com, equal housing lender, NMLS 1124061.
Wealth Health Radio. The biggest fears that people have is, do I have enough money to retire?
Retirement doesn't have to be complicated.
To make sure that you're going through retirement with confidence.
Learn principles of income planning.
There's a lot of different facets that you need to take into consideration when you're retiring.
Tune into Wealth Health Radio with Joe Murphy, noon to 1 p.m. Sundays on AM 560. The Answer.
Honey, why does it take you so long to get ready?
Oh, because I've got one tiny sink. I'm trying to balance makeup on the back of the toilet, and the mirror's always fogged up.
That sounds like a circus act.
Exactly. And I perform every morning.
At Forever Remodeling, we create bathrooms that fit your life, not the other way around. From extra storage to spa-like showers and timeless finishes, we make your mornings easier. Visit foreverremodeling.com. That's the number 4everremodeling.com.
AM 560. The Answer.
It's amazing how everybody just gets used to it. Get used to it. And incredible progress obviously made in the Middle East, but that progress made in the Middle East wasn't made in New York. Here's another problem with New York.
We did not act enough. We did not act enough. We did not act enough. Repeat after me. We did not act enough. We did not act enough.
It's its own little cult in New York, and he's a Hamas supporter in New York, and he says they did not act enough.
We acted enough. We acted enough. The headline behind me would read, Gaza has been liberated. So our work is not done. We must show up. Stronger than we did the first October 7th. Louder than we did the first October 7th. Make it clear that we are not going anywhere. We will keep fighting until Palestine is free.
By the way, how are their furniture exports? Are they back online?
The river to the sea. Within our lifetime. Make some noise.
Yeah, within their lifetime. Call the Jets. Get them back in the air.
It's clear that Gen Z knows no history. Just DEI and woke philosophy.
Another good thing today. A lot of good stuff today. A lot of good stuff.
Go ahead.
This is like Explorer Day for you, sir. Today we have your Columbus Day proclamation for Monday, which we're signing a bit early. Christopher Columbus obviously discovered the New World in 1492. He was a great Italian explorer. He sailed his 3 ships, the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria, across the Atlantic Ocean and landed in what's today the Caribbean. But this is a particularly important holiday for Italian Americans who celebrate the legacy of Christopher Columbus and the innovation and explorer zeal that he represented.
In other words, we're calling it Columbus Day.
Yes.
Fantastic. No more of that Indigenous People Day nonsense. The Comanche, enemy of all. Rich, Indian Head Park. That's good news,
Shaun,
right? It's Columbus Day again.
Columbus Day, I just heard, yeah. It should have been. It should have never been changed.
Never was in my house, and it never
Right,
was
in
in the
mine
good
either.
houses. Listen to this house.
He discovered America is what he did. He was a brave Italian explorer. And in this house, Christopher Columbus is a hero. End of story.
And that's right. And our house too, Rich. Now shoot.
Pritzker keeps calling about this war that Trump has on Chicago. Well, there wouldn't be any war if we didn't have these Pritzker-paid protesters going out there every day.
Pritzker represents the cartels and the drug dealers well. The Democrats are the cartel party. They're the cartel party. They're the crook party.
Right.
They're the bank fraud party. They're the thief party. They're the steal party. You can get out. They're the punch the lady in the face party. They're the rapist party. They're the party of scum. What do you think he's going to do? Think all of a sudden he's going to turn around? He hasn't paid. Here's a guy who has $2 billion, $2,000 million handed to him. He don't want to pay his fracking property taxes. That's the kind of character you're dealing with. Who gives a rip what that fat slob says? Letitia slapped the ear taste out of his mouth. That's for damn sure. I got $50 on Letitia versus Pritzker. That ain't even close. Big weeble wobbles. He'll get his ass kicked like you used to do when you were at DI. What do you think?
Sounds good.
Thank you very much. Sure. You ain't going to mess with Letitia. She's got a tattoo on the back of her neck that says, yardstick of ass crack. Try me, I dare you.
The alleged misrepresentation allowed her to get lower interest rates and avoid the higher cost of a commercial loan, which is...
Who's going to be the mortgage broker to tell her, listen here, Chesty, we're going to give you a raised interest rate? Sure you are. She'll slap the taste out of your mouth. Mark in Oak Lawn.
Hey, Shaun, how are you, my friend?
Very good. Who do you think was more nervous? The guy doing the mortgage for Letitia or the guy doing the mortgage for Giancana? Which one do you think was more nervous?
I'd say Giancana. You know, they
No,
have
not
their
me.
ways.
Giancana was a nice little guy. Glasses. He had a funny hat on like Pinocchio. He's fine. It's Letitia you got to
Shaun,
worry about. She's got shoulders like Mean Joe Green.
Can I tell you something? My mother, when she grew up, she almost married an alderman from Chicago, and she had dinner in the basement of Sam Giancana's house, and my grandmother was with her. But after they got out of there, they said, all bets are off.
Yeah, don't try the sausage and peppers. That was the last dish she was making before he got popped. Go ahead.
I could have been little Tony, you know?
Yeah, that would have been great. You would have had 70% less IQ points, but shoot, what do you got?
Hey, today's a big day, or I think it's today or tomorrow, but it's the Reverend Jackson's birthday. So,
yesterday! His son announced his candidacy yesterday. Yeah,
and I know his son is running for Congress and wants to replace Dick Durbin's.
He's a crooked Democrat. What else can he do? It's either that or sing heroin.
He's got a great incentive. You know what he said? Yeah, his hair was really funny. But he said, if you vote for me, I'll give you a poster of Bruce Lee.
Nice. He got elected saying, if you vote for me, I'll set you free. What the hell's the difference? Moron Democrat. And by the way, they can't wait to vote for him. When I say they, I'm talking about the low-living, used to getting shot, used to dealing with heroin and stepping over homeless Democrats. They can't get enough of it. Democrats forever. If you can elect a pickle jar or a Pritzker, you can definitely elect that crooked Jesse Jackson Jr. 312-642-5600.
Make money, smoke cigars, and live free on the Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for. For this free information, call 800-422-1609. 800-422-1609. 800-422-1609. Or simply visit godra.com.
Do you have diabetes or high blood pressure? Does someone in your family have high blood pressure, diabetes, or kidney failure? If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are at risk for kidney disease and should get screened. The National Kidney Foundation Illinois offers free health screenings through the Kidney Mobile. To find a free screening in your area, please visit kidneymobile.org or call 312-321-1500.
So it's funny, you talk about gold being, yesterday was $4,080. Today, I think it closed just a hair under $4,000. Bitcoin and the rest of it. And the reason is, what you use to purchase it is losing value. But gold may not be the only thing of tremendous value you have lying around your house. Might be in your basement, might be in your attic, might be in your garage, might be on your driveway. You have no idea what these things are worth, but one thing's for certain. These things, the gold and Bitcoin and the rest, and the stock market for that matter, are up because the dollar isn't. So if you have things laying around your house and you're curious to know what they're worth, that's the other benefit of knowing Randy Donnelly and Donnelly Auctions. At Randy Donnelly and Donnelly Auctions, they can give you that peace of mind. You may not even want to sell it, but if you want to know what it's worth, it's simple. Just go to DonnellyAuctions.com. At DonnellyAuctions.com, they can tell you exactly what the item is worth, and in there can answer some of the questions you may have. As the economy gets worse and you struggle, you may be able to go there and sell it at a price you'd be astonished at. And that goes for a business. Are you closing a business like so many people in Illinois, so many people in New York and San Francisco and Philadelphia? Go to DonnellyAuctions.com, schedule an appointment for them to tell you what your fixtures are worth in your business, especially if you've got a business that's a family business and you're closing it down and the fixtures are old. It may be a fantastic opportunity to find out what those items are worth. And if it's a car, if it's a boat, if it's a motorcycle, they can also tell you what it's worth at DonnellyAuctions.com. It's a crucially important website to know. Randy Donnelly is somebody who has 5 decades of experience. And never forget, the people at Donnelly Auctions are a state and federal licensed arms dealer. State and federal licensed arms dealers, so they can help you liquidate weapons. They can help you accumulate weapons. All available at DonnellyAuctions.com. It's that simple, DonnellyAuctions.com. When we get back, I'm going to go to the lines, 312-642-5600. That will be after News with Patrick Johnson.
Okay, Shaun, thank you and good afternoon. 62 degrees still in Chicago in the AM 560 newsroom on AM 560, The Answer. Legal showdowns are underway for Oregon and Illinois as National Guard troops deploy in the Chicago area. These are two key legal battles that could determine the fate of President Trump's National Guard deployments in Portland and Chicago. Today, the president convening members of his cabinet at the White House. Speaking at the meeting, DHS Secretary Kristi Noem says they're expanding operations in Chicago.
We're purchasing more buildings in Chicago to operate out of. We're going to not back off. In fact, we're doubling down, and we're going to be in more parts of Chicago in response to the people there.
The president plans to travel to the Middle East for a signing ceremony between Hamas and Israel. Here's Fox's Jared Halpern.
Months of shuttle diplomacy by American diplomats helped secure a ceasefire between Hamas and Israel in Gaza that will see hostages released in a matter of days and Israel gradually withdraw from the war-torn territory.
But at some point, that whole thing has to stop, and we're going to see to it. Gaza is going to be slowly redone. You have tremendous wealth in that part of the world.
President Trump says he intends to travel to the region in the coming days. At the White House, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
This is a service of AlmostFreeTeeth.com. Overpaying for dental implants is over. If you have medical PPO insurance, find out how you could save 90% off on average to get your smile back. Check if you qualify at AlmostFreeTeeth.com, making smiles great again. Let's head to the traffic center. Check of the roads with Jill Urchak.
On the outbound Edens, no troubles to report. The Kennedy, downtown to O'Hare, 50 minutes to get out there. You will see tie-ups in the Express, Ohio to Keeler. On the outbound Eisenhower, an hour and 5, post office out to the Jane Addams. And the Stevenson outbound, 45 minutes to the Tri-State, 1 hour out to 355. Southbound I-55 north of Arsenal, that accident still in the left lane, solid from US 6. Outbound Dan Ryan, 35 minutes with a crash at 83rd in the right lane. Express are tight, 33rd to Marquette. Inbound Ford, a crash in the left lane at 111th. Due Sabo Lakeshore Drive, that's heavy either way, as is the Tri-State. On the Jane Addams, no problems. Reagan looks good. Southbound 355 Finley to Boughton. Traffic slows in eastbound 80. There's an accident at Center. Stop and go from I-55. From the AM 560 The Answer Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchak.
Now, your official weather forecast.
Tonight, mostly clear skies with a low of 49. Tomorrow, expect intervals of sunshine followed by increasing cloudiness. High temperatures will reach 68. Tomorrow night, skies will partially clear with a slight chance of a passing shower. The low will be 49. Saturday will bring sunny conditions with a high of 64. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
If you want thick, healthy, gorgeous hair, then you need Hair Volume from New Nordic. Available online at Amazon and NewNordicUSA.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
Improving your home? Why not make it easy? Don't miss the free home show this weekend only at the Kane County Fairgrounds in St. Charles. See the latest products and services for the freshest ideas to remodel, repair, and beautify your home, inside and out. Don't miss your best chance to save time and money with exclusive show discounts and offers. And get trusted advice on your upcoming projects as you speak with experts who will help you with all of your home improvement needs. With everything from kitchens, baths, and basements to windows, siding and doors, flooring, painting, heating and air, solar power systems, and so much more, this amazing event has it all. And visit the many live interactive displays and product demonstrations all weekend long. From interiors to exteriors, from decor to outdoor, you'll find it all at the home show this weekend. Open from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Saturday and Sunday at the Kane County Fairgrounds in St. Charles with free admission and free parking. For details, visit CaneCountyHomeshow.com. That's CaneCountyHomeshow.com.
You're what?
Making Thanksgiving dinner.
Why so early?
So I can serve a big family meal on the Flay table from Penny Mustard.
Oh, I love the Flay table.
Melt butter and add peanut butter.
The strong Midwest craftsmanship ensures family feasts for generations.
Mix in strained beets and mayonnaise.
What recipe are you making?
Recipe? What's a recipe?
The Flay table, paired with 4 Kendall chairs, with your choice of fabric or leather, starting at $68.71 at Penny Mustard. 7 Chicagoland showrooms. PennyMustard.com.
Want to see if you could pay less in taxes? Try the quick and easy tax calculator at willsave.com. Yes, a free tax calculator. That's WILSAVE.com. Calculate how you could keep more of your hard-earned money and give less to Uncle Sam, especially in retirement. Get your free tax analysis today at willsave.com. And don't forget to tune in to Protecting Your Assets with Steve Shyman every Saturday morning at 8, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this hour of the Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. They need your guns. Sell for top dollar. DonleyAuctions.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Squirrel, now that you're back, by the way, glad you're back, like the squirrel can. Do you remember us playing that cut from that imbecile in Boston? I don't even think she's a citizen. She had the turban on her head, big fat girl, race baiter, swearing, and she got caught stealing money from the people, from the war chest. This is another reason Democrats stick together. They understand when you're in your fiefdoms, your little communities, if you do get caught stealing, odds are you're going to be before another Democrat. And that Democrat in a costume called a robe, they're going to look out for you.
The feds allege Fernandez Anderson was having major money problems. She was late on rent and her car payments.
So officials claim she offered her family member a hefty bonus, twice as much as the rest of her staff combined.
But that supersized bonus came with a hitch.
The bonus was more than $10,000, but the counselor directed her family member to kick back $7,000 to put in her own pocket. The two exchanged the money in a city hall bathroom in June of 2023. The meetup shown in these texts.
As alleged, not only was these taxpayers' funds being stolen, but it was happening right in the building where she works.
You want a little preview of how it went? Hey, you got the cheese? You got the Sacagawea? You got it with you? All right, hand it over there, dummy.
Insisting she was not guilty and pleading as such, she finally admitted that she was.
As part of the plea deal, Fernandez Anderson also admitted she filed fraudulent federal income tax returns in 2021, 2022, and 2023, but won't be charged with tax offenses.
According to this plea deal, Anderson will spend a year in prison and repay the $13,000 in taxpayer money.
But lucky her, that plea deal of a year in prison was dramatically reduced.
The judge said the 1 year the government was asking for did not fit sentencing guidelines, and so the judge sentenced her to 1 month in federal prison. She'll also have to pay $13,000 in restitution.
And all stealing, fraud, right in the city hall. Gotcha. Guilty. You're going to do a month? A month. And that's why Democrats stay among Democrats and appoint their wives and their kids, and they're all up for judges. Because even when you get caught, you don't really get caught. Frank Lamont.
Hey, my friend. You know something? You are so absolutely right about Jelly Belly. All he does is talk bad about federal agents. You know, the FBI put out a bulletin this week that said the Latin Kings, right, and other street gangs in Chicago are being ordered to obstruct ICE from doing their job. Don't tell me we don't need the National Guard.
How could you interpret
insurrection?
Well, that's what happens, right? When like I'm just playing you here in Boston, the judges is like Chicago. In Greylord. Exactly. The judges are crooked. The coppers are crooked, like the ones who sat behind Ed Burke's house. Crooked. Did any of those? How about the ones now? 100 plus to guard this imbecile who couldn't pay his water payment. 100 plus. Yep. Anybody complaining on that detail? Oh, this is terrible.
Shaun, except for your show, when is the last time you heard a politician or any of the media scum use the word gang or gang member? Who are creating the chaos, who are the foot soldiers for these Democratic hacks that you're talking about.
Well, you do realize what happened, right? What happened under really, you could almost say the dailies cultivated it. They legitimized the scumbag gangbangers by making them interference guys. And then they're on the payroll. You know how much money the city of Chicago gets from the feds for violence interference? It's $800 million. Yeah. $800 million a year. Almost $1 billion a year. Where's the money? Who's going to ask a question? Nobody. How many of these violent interfere morons did we catch with rock in their pockets, slinging hash still? How much? Yeah. How many? I must have 5 in the last 6 months. And that's the game.
start an NGO, give yourself a nice six-figure salary, and then give a little something to the ward committeeman or the alderman.
It always was there, Frank, but now it's undeniable. And this is the thing you have to understand. I say, when someone tells you they're a Democrat, it's a confession. But what you have to understand, the entire representation, all these political hacks, they don't represent the decent. They represent the indecent. This is the party of the mafia, the party of the cartel, the party of the rapist. If you're a scumbag, you love these bastards. Thank you very much, Frank. I think I might even have from yesterday, right?
Trump, if he was serious about safety, he would not have defunded a program of $800 million that was geared towards violence prevention.
You mean where you paid a gangbanger and you pretend he's not a gangbanger? And then he's slinging hair, Ron, on the side. Is that what you mean, stupid? That's only for people dumb enough to be a Democrat that they would believe that. George in Naperville.
Shaun, do you think the costume shops are rushing to get Christopher Columbus costumes out there for the kids now that Columbus is reinstated by Trump?
You know, it was such a slap in the face of Amerigo Vespucci. He discovered the Bahamas. He didn't discover America, but okay, I'll take credit where credit is due. And by the way, he was Spanish, wasn't he? Roberto, Bloomingdale.
Shaun, how you doing?
Wonderful.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. All right. We got that covered? You better have fracking pants on when I talk to you. You got pants on?
Yes, I got my pants on. I'm sitting in the kitchen with Lucy, and we're going to have some dinner.
Oh, wonderful.
Thank you. The reason I was calling tonight, you got the mayor, BLM Brandon, Mayor Governor Teletubby, and any of these other people. They want to interfere with President Trump. Then it should be obstruction of justice, and they should be arrested and prosecuted to the furthest extent of the law. What do you think?
They're not interfering with just President Trump. They're doing what they've been doing for decades. They're representing criminals. I don't know why it's hard. Here, this is national joke, by the way. This is Fenton. How do you say? What is it? Tim Fitton? Tim Fitton from this wonderful organization that he constantly takes on scum around the country, which means he focuses a lot on Illinois.
Everyone, Judicial Watch just got out of the Supreme Court. They're arguing for our client, Congressman Boss, that candidates have a right to challenge election rules, like in Illinois, where they count ballots that are received for up to 14 days after the election. The Supreme Court seems primed to rule in our favor. We won't know until the opinion's issued.
Listen, you're dragged so down in the intellectual understanding of the argument. The argument is this, and I wonder what the Supreme Court's going to do. The argument is Illinois scum Democrats, the same scum that stole, and everybody knows they stole the election in 1960 for Kennedy. They want to count ballots for 2 weeks after the election. 2 weeks! And we're going to, is that legal? Of course not. Are you out of your frickin' mind? You got people on the voter rolls that they're 130 years old. Queen of Heaven goes for the Democrats. It's a frickin' punchline. You know that, right? It's like Brandon Johnson. He's a punchline. $800 million. Where is the money, stupid?
Trump, if he was serious about safety, he would not have defunded a program of $800 million that...
Boy, that makes those $6,000 suits. All comes into focus now, huh? $37,000 for the hairdo. He's got a watch now and everything, like a man, walking around with new shoes on. A couple of years ago, he couldn't pay the fracking water bill. Hit the button, Squirrel, I swore. Couldn't pay the water bill. It's aggravating. That's why I swear, Squirrel.
Was geared towards violence prevention. He cut the ATF budget by 30%. He has defunded our education system. He has defunded our transportation system. He is firing black women across this country.
Oh, black women. It doesn't matter what color. It's what character. White guy's been on this scam too, Mo. It's all about Democrats stealing the money. 312-642-5600.
This is the Shaun Thompson Show, where Democrats are always wrong, Republicans are seldom right, and politicians are never, ever to be trusted. On AM 560, The Answer.
Fellow patriots, our neighbors in Manteno are under attack. Governor Pritzker handed over $536 million of your tax dollars to Goshen, a company affiliated with the Chinese Communist Party and under congressional investigation. Now Goshen wants to use toxic chemicals near family homes. But the concerned citizens of Manteno are fighting back in court, and they need our help. Join us Tuesday, October 28th at Olympia Fields Country Club for an evening with Gordon Chang, a leading expert on China's threat to America. Cocktails at 6, dinner at 7. Every dollar raised goes directly to their legal battle against the CCP-affiliated Goshen. Get your tickets now at breakthrough-ideas.com. Learn more at our Dump Goshen webpage. This is our fight, Illinois. American taxpayers shouldn't fund Communist China's expansion onto American soil. Get involved today. Breakthrough Ideas and the Coalition for a Prosperous America are sponsoring this event and standing with concerned citizens everywhere.
Some big news. Just before Charlie Kirk died, he issued a stark warning of terrifying dangers and threats ahead for those who stand for truth. Charlie wrote this in his last published work, the foreword for the new book, Pagan Threat. Authored by Pastor Lucas Miles, Charlie said that Pagan Threat could save America. Charlie said you must read, internalize, and share this book. It has the plan to stop the wokeism infecting America. Already a #1 Amazon bestseller, Pagan Threat is available wherever books are sold. Get Pagan Threat free with Newsmax's special offer and save $30. Go online now to paganthreat.com. That's paganthreat.com. Millions are tuning into Newsmax on all major cable systems. They're downloading our free Newsmax app on their smartphones. And they're getting Pagan Threat to see Charlie Kirk's final words. Go today to paganthreat.com. That's paganthreat.com.
Hi, Dan Proft here. Data shows that boys make up more than 1/3 of those exploited in the sex trade. However, there are virtually no services available to male victims and survivors of trafficking and exploitation. They are often overlooked, ignored, and left without support. For 35 years, Emmaus has been on the front lines of an issue most of us can hardly imagine, helping men and boys in Chicago escape the nightmare of human trafficking and rebuild their lives. On Friday, November 1st, you're invited to attend an unforgettable evening at the Emmaus 35th Anniversary Gala at Fisherman's Inn in Elburn, Illinois. Together, they'll celebrate faith, freedom, and restoration with a beautifully catered dinner, an inspiring program, and a silent auction, all to support the mission of rescuing and restoring survivors. This is your chance to do something that truly matters. Reserve your seat today, or if you can't attend, make a life-changing donation at streets.org. That's streets.org. Emmaus is restoring lives. Let's help them keep going. Visit streets.org.
Is the conflict between Israel and the Palestinians the revival of an ancient conflict recorded in the Bible?
The nation of Israel is a resurrected nation. So what if there was going to be a resurrection of another people, an enemy people of Israel? The Bible speaks about this whole war as a dragon representing the enemy attacking a woman representing Israel.
Dinesh D'Souza's new film, The Dragon's Prophecy, offers new understanding of October 7th, Israel, radical Islam, anti-Semitism, and biblical prophecy. Could the fate of the world, of humanity itself, be tied to this place?
We came back to a land that was largely barren and empty, and we brought it back to life, and we're going to keep it.
The dragon will not prevail.
The Dragon's Prophecy, based on Jonathan Cahn's international bestseller. Watch it now or buy the DVD at salemnow.com. That's salemnow.com. AM 560, The Answer.
I can't remember nothing, no.
37,000 a year for that Marvin the Martian Bull Hawk. I mean, it's so fantastic that these comedians found other work after that problem with Second City. That guy obviously went into hairdressing. Dawn in Naperville.
You know, one thing about Democrats, they never speak in specifics. It's always generalities. So, with all due respect to the mayor of Chicago, you've got a $734 million deficit for Chicago public schools. Is what you're saying is that happened within the last 9 months? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. What does that have to do with President Trump?
Well, that's why you compartmentalize. You compartmentalize the spending. You compartmentalize the school. You compartmentalize the money spent on illegal aliens. So then you just give the nut of what you want to steal. We're short $1.2 billion. And then if you look, no, it's $2 billion. No, it's $2.5 billion because you're mixing, you're separating the money and you're mixing the loss. It's what Enron was busted up for. It's Enron math.
What are they going to do?
Did the phone The phone broke up on me, Dawn. And by the way, is it your birthday today? Someone told me.
Sorry.
Is it your birthday?
No, I guess my question is what are they going to do when President Trump is no longer in the office?
They'll go back to stealing. They're dying for that to happen. You think this happened this year? You think this happened this year? This is cultivated for decades. Where it spiked up is where the deficit in our country, the debt spiked up.
It doesn't make any sense. He looks ridiculous. So does the governor. You both look ridiculous. So, you know what? If they were smart.
We've got a bad connection with her.
Because really what you're really fighting is the American people. As long as I know, President Trump didn't get elected by himself. The number one issue was immigration. So you're not fighting President
You're doing
Trump.
that thing that good people do, Dawn. You're doing it again, but you're a good person. You can't help it. You're doing that thing. You think that everybody has the same sense. You have that thing where you think everybody is after the same goal of achieving success and truth. They're not. And when you said he looks stupid, who's he look stupid to? You've got 50 schools in Chicago that produce kids that cannot read and do math. Does he look stupid to them? Who's he look stupid to? These are the people he's cast into feudalism their entire existence because they can't read and can't do math. So who does he look stupid to? He looks like a champion to them. That's the game. If you're somebody who's hopeless, if you're somebody who needs more money from somebody because you can't provide for yourself, he's a hero to you. So he doesn't look the same to two people. The two things can live in the same universe. So he is if you're a thief, if you're a drug dealer, if you're a gangbanger, he's perfect. He actually has a way to make you look legitimate. They've got $800 million a year that they can hire you to squash beefs among guys you don't like and support your crew. See, that's how it really works. So the crew who you give the money to, now that's the strong crew. That's got the government protection. So does he look like a scumbag to them, or does he look like a hero? I think you have to understand there are nefarious people who have low character. It's been since the dawn of time. There are scum among us. And what you need is scum control. You just need scum control, Don. But you have to be willing to look at somebody like him and say, you're a lying scumbag. You're a lying rat scumbag.
Shaun, I grew up in a very pro-union family that never voted Democrat. So I hope that people finally start to wake up, think for themselves, and not vote in people like this who are not serious about solving problems.
First of all, you hear me bash the labor extortion mafia when I go after the criminals and the Teamsters, the upper echelon. But when you say pro-union, I'm the founder of the capitalist union. I believe in the union of ideas and the union of discussion. But that's not what we deal with. They take the word and then they steal it. And then they hide their corruption in it. So that's the thing to be aware of.
Doesn't make any sense. Here's what doesn't make. How can we be a free people that lives in a free society if you're here legally? How are you getting a job? Are you stealing Social Security numbers? It doesn't make any sense.
You don't even have to steal them. Joe Biden gave out $5 million. Here's the thing you have to understand if we're living in a free society. We're not, Don. We've been a socialist country since FDR. We're a socialist country. I mean, I hate to break it to you.
Hopefully we can get out of it.
We're a socialist country. Well, we can get out of it. We can, and now's when you get out of it, when the government's shut down. Now, and by the way, big advances today. Thank you very much, Don. And if it's not your birthday, then forget about it. But if it is, happy birthday. Here's some good news. Fantastic news.
A new Washington Post report says the Trump administration is considering removing age as a factor in determining whether someone is able to work. That change would make it harder for older Americans to qualify for disability benefits. Another option being floated, raising the minimum age for disability to 60. The Post reports OMB Director Russell Vought supports eliminating age considerations altogether.
That's the first step. Make it harder. Make it more difficult so more decent people understand it's a lie in the get-go. It's always been a tax. It doesn't exist. It's a welfare program, so it looks. You get your money, you put it in, you get it. They don't want to pay anybody. They certainly don't want to pay the people who actually paid in it. They stole the money already. So this is the beginning step of letting people out. Here's where they're going to run into a problem. You get a guy like me. Oh, I don't want it. I never wanted it. Just give me my money back that I put in. You told me it was mine. Give me my money back and we're even. What do you think that'll do to the economy? What do you think that'll do to the dollar? They've been lying for nearly 100 years on that fraud Social Security. That's just one. Forget about Obamacare. That'll take at least us an hour to fix that. We could fix that in an hour, though, because we have objective truth and reason. The opposition doesn't, and they are not interested in it. We'll be back.
This is the Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
Did you know that AM 560 Radio has a full-service digital marketing division called Salem Surround? If you're a business decision maker, listen up. AM 560 listeners are everywhere your potential audience is. So are our incredible targeting capabilities. We localize digital marketing and put it within reach of every business, small and large, in Chicagoland and beyond. Salem Surround offers AI-powered marketing solutions that reach your ideal audience. Whether or not you tap into the proven live, local, and emotional connection that AM 560 Radio brings, Salem Surround offers a total marketing solution to our partners. All-in-one digital solutions that provide targeted local digital and social media ads, Google AdWords management, website services, video strategy, search optimization, and even a management dashboard to offer you total campaign updates and transparency. Your Salem Surround representative is located right here in Chicago. Experience the Salem Surround digital revolution today. Call 847-472-8951. That's 847-472-8951.
Welcome back to Ask Hasselus.
What makes Hasselus mattress different?
Aside from employee-free showrooms, free next-day delivery, and prices that are way too low?
Yeah, besides that.
Hasselus Mattress is locally owned and managed by the same family.
So,
your money stays right here. And through Monday, you'll get a $248 credit towards a new Beauty Rest, Sealy Posturepedic, and Serta Perfect Sleeper just for shopping local.
Thanks.
For what?
For being different.
Find a no-hassle, employee-free showroom near you at Hasselus.com.
This is Alistair Begg, inviting you to sail with me next September 5th through the 12th, 2026, on the Deeper Faith Norwegian Fjords cruise. If you've never been to this picturesque part of the world, the sights are magnificent, and the glacier-carved cliffs demonstrate the grandeur of God's creative handiwork. Throughout the journey, I'll be teaching from the Bible. Together we'll learn from the Scriptures, enjoy a week of fellowship and worship, and stop at several ports where we'll stroll through quaint Nordic villages. This is an opportunity to explore scenes you won't soon forget, all while forming new friendships with fellow believers from around the world. Cabins are limited, so call today at 855-565-5519 or visit deeperfaithcruise.com. 855-565-5519 or visit deeperfaithcruise.com. I hope to see you on board.
Book today at 560theanswer.com/deeperfaith.
Rising debt, stock market swings, and global shocks can affect your retirement. But even in this economy, there's still opportunity. Protect your retirement with a secure, tax-advantaged gold IRA. Instead of leaving a 401k or IRA at the mercy of markets, hold physical gold or silver. Real protection for your future. And Noble Gold makes it simple. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com and chat with a specialist. The conversation is free, and the peace of mind is priceless. noblegoldinvestments.com. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals involves risk. Consult your financial advisor before making investment decisions.
It's news, opinion, insight. It's AM 560, The Answer. WIND, Chicago.
I love talking to our next guest because if I have a question about the United States Court of Appeals, I know he worked there. If I have a question about the United States Department of Justice, I know he worked there too. But what I really like is that as I speak to him tonight, he is a professor of law at the University of Arkansas, Little Rock. We will be joined by my friend, Professor Robert Steinbuch, after Patrick Johnson.
Thanks, Shaun. 61 degrees in Chicago in the AM 560 newsroom on AM 560, The Answer. Here, Brandon Johnson said President Trump's deployment of National Guard troops has nothing to do with public safety or immigration. It is purely political. Johnson said at a news conference in a federal court lobby as arguments challenging the deployment were underway. The federal government has brought chaos to Chicago, saying that includes tear gassing protesters, reporters, and Chicago police officers. Federal judges are hearing arguments today related to challenges on Trump's deployment of troops in Chicago and in Portland, Oregon. The U.S. Supreme Court is considering whether an Illinois U.S. House candidate has standing to sue the state over counting ballots beyond Election Day.
Congressman Mike Bost sued the state for counting mail-in ballots after Election Day, but the Supreme Court's not set to decide that. They're set to decide whether Bost has standing. Representing Bost Wednesday, attorney Paul Clement said Bost has standing with his name on the ballot.
Those unlawful ballots could cost Congressman Bost the election or at least reduce his margin of victory, and he has to pay his campaign staff for 2 extra weeks.
Representing the state, Illinois Solicitor General Neil Knotts argued against granting Bost standing.
Petitioner's blanket candidate standing rule would cause chaos for election officials while saddling federal courts with resolving abstract policy disputes.
The justices took the case under advisement. I'm Greg Bishop.
News and service of almostfreeteeth.com. Overpaying for dental implants is over. If you have medical PPO insurance, find out how you can save 90% off on average to get your smile back. Check if you qualify at almostfreeteeth.com. Time now for the AM 560 Business Beat.
I'm Taylor Riggs, and this is the Fox Business Report. The major averages finishing lower, but off their worst levels of the trading day, even as the first trickle of earnings reports were positive. Gold prices falling below $4,000 an ounce from recent highs. Investors seem to be locking in profits from extended rallies for the precious metal. The Dow down 243 points, the Nasdaq lower by 19, S&P 500 down 19. Levi Strauss delivering an earnings and revenue beat for its third quarter thanks to targeted price increases. The denim maker also raising its full-year guidance. However, its stock is falling in after-hours trading. Shares of Advanced Micro Devices taking a pause and falling over 1% after surging more than 40% over the past 3 trading sessions, boosted by a massive chip deal with ChatGPT maker OpenAI. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Hillary Barsky, invested in you.
Get your tickets for Freedom Summit Chicago 2025, happening on Saturday, November 8th at Westin Chicago Northwest in Itasca. This year, featuring Dr. Ben Carson, Scott Jennings, Mike Gallagher, along with Dan Proft, Shaun Thompson, John Anthony, and many more. This event will sell out fast, so get your tickets today at freedomsummitchicago.com. That's freedomsummitchicago.com. Sponsored in part by Aid for Women, Breakthrough Ideas, and by Attorney Stephen A. Leahy at Opum Tax Advocates.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. Ever wonder why the big wireless companies want you on an unlimited plan? It's because they need you to help cover the cost of the 20-somethings who are using a lot of data every month. Fact is, according to the latest research studies, most people 50 and up, like me, only use 12 gigs or less each month. Don't get bamboozled by big wireless. At Consumer Cellular, pick what suits your needs. Whether it's 1 gig, 5, 10, or unlimited, the point is, pay for exactly what you need and nothing more. We use the same towers as the big guys, but since we don't own and maintain them, we can pass the savings on to you. Our plans start at just $20 a month, and you'll get the best customer service in the business. I want to invite you to join the millions of people who choose something better than big wireless, because if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
You've heard me talk about Northridge for years, but now I want you to hear from one of their recent graduates, TJ Gorman, who just graduated second in his class in Marine Corps basic training. This is what he said. I was blessed to attend Northridge not only for the education, but for the values and principles my mentors instilled within me. The school taught us what it meant to be a leader and lead through example, hard work, humility, and empathy. I thank God for Northridge. That's what makes Northridge Prep great for young men. The students are called to excellence to become true leaders. And these boys want to go to school each day. They love Northridge because they can be free to learn, to grow, and to be challenged. There's a real spirit of adventure on campus that you've just got to experience for yourself. For nearly 50 years, they've partnered with parents like no other school in the Chicagoland area. Today, in our nation, we need more Northridge graduates to lead the way as men of intellect and character who love God. Guys like TJ Gorman, men who put their values first. Their open house is Sunday, October 19th at 1 p.m. for boys in grades 6 through 12. Register at northridgeprep.org. northridgeprep.org.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer. From the AM 560 Traffic Center.
Southbound 355 at North Avenue, there's an accident in the left lane. Traffic is pretty heavy into that scene. The Jane Addams, though, and the Reagan both look good either way, although the Tri-State northbound just closed between Toohey and Dempster. This is due to a car fire. We will let you know when that reopens. On DuSable Lakeshore Drive, also tie-ups both north and south. Outbound Eden's clear, hour going back in. The Kennedy 30 minutes to Montrose 55 out to O'Hare. And the outbound Eisenhower 1 hour and 5 post office to 390. Stevenson outbound 50 to the Tri-State hour and 5 out to 355. And the outbound Ryan is a 38-minute trip. Traffic is a service of the daily podcast of Chicago's Morning Answer and the Shaun Thompson Show. Hear both shows with limited commercials when you subscribe for free to the daily podcasts at 560theanswer.com/podcast. From the AM 560 The Answer Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchak.
Now, your official weather forecast.
Tonight, expect mainly clear skies with a low of 49. Tomorrow, anticipate some sunshine followed by increasing cloudiness, reaching a high of 68. Tomorrow night, skies will become partly cloudy with a slight chance of a shower and a low of 49. Moving into Saturday, prepare for sunny conditions with a high of 64. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this hour of The Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. Get top dollar for guns and military items. DonleyAuctions.com.
I love America. I love the Constitution. I love the First Amendment. I want to carry and all else. I love property. And let me tell you something. If you care about your country, I'll read Ludwig von Mises and the 6 lessons of the Austrian Economic School, motherfuckers.
From the streets of Melrose Park to the trading floor of the Merc, he's fought for every dollar he's ever earned. And now, with personal liberty and our system of capitalism under assault in America, he's here to seize back our rights from the government. With a cigar in one hand and a copy of the Declaration of Independence in the other, he's Shaun Thompson. And this is the Shaun Thompson Show.
Some folks are born made to wave the flag. Ooh, they're red, white, and blue.
I have to tell you, I think the reason I enjoy our conversations with our next guest so much, not only is he an expert when it comes to the law, and he is somebody who has clerked at the United States Court of Appeals, and he's worked for the United States Department of Justice. He's also consulted for the United States Senate Judiciary Committee. But he's an active professor of law. But it's not just the law. It's about what's right and what's wrong. That's what I love about having the opportunity to talk to Professor Robert Steinbuch. How are you?
I'm doing great, my friend. How are you?
Well, very, very interested in a lot of your articles that you've been kicking out. And it's amazing. And you work tirelessly. I mean, I think I've only got 4 of probably 12. But it's a fascinating topic as far as I can see on the 4 that I picked and we're going to talk about today. And I'll tell you why. Barack Obama was a perfect salesman for a scandal mafia government to me. So when we talk about your article where it says money back guarantee, and you're talking about kids and college enrollment, I am so reminded of the for-profit universities that when Barack Obama first was sworn into office that he attacked vehemently. This is before the federal government took over student lending. He attacks all these colleges that, I would have never considered sending my kids to, or other people. But if you don't have the means to send them to a historically accredited college, there are online universities that look appealing to ordinary, hardworking guys who can't afford big things. So he said they were all garbage, right? So the stocks plummet, and I'm reminded of Phoenix University or University of Phoenix. That's the biggest one. And the stock was crushed. As it's crushed, his friends buy it. Literally his friends that he played basketball with, Barack Obama. Then all of a sudden, the government abuse of regulation goes away. Now they're back in business. And simultaneously with that, Barack Obama and the federal government usurps and takes over student lending. And the problem goes from $600 billion to now it's $2.4 trillion. But what happened was, a lot of people got rich in the education business. So when I was reading your article about your college, it's fascinating when you look at the fact you had this big spike in new students, but you also had a tremendous drop-off of kids who should have never been there, right?
Well, you bring up some very important statistics here, which is there has been this movement for online education, and all of these claims we're going to have what's called a demographic cliff. Well, what's the demographic cliff? Allegedly, because in like 08, 09, there was a drop in birth rate as a consequence of the recession, that we're going to have a blip in people going to college. If you have fewer people born in a particular year, you have fewer people 20 years later going to college. And they built this whole narrative around how, it's a demographic cliff, we're going to run out of students. Because you had a blip? What do you think? The prior 20 years didn't have blips for other reasons? You think it was entirely consistent? And so the column you're referring to speaks about this overall consistency in our growth here in Arkansas, but that applies elsewhere also, and that it's upward growing. And you hear people say, yeah, but the birth rate is going up now at 3% instead of 6%. I'm making up the numbers, right? Yeah, but we're a university, for example, and we're fixed. So any increase means more students, not fewer students. Maybe not as many more as you would have predicted if it was a higher birth rate, but you're going up, not down. And so all of it, I bring this all up in this column that you're referring to because all of this is the crutch that the folks who are pushing online education rest on. Why? Because we need to go to places where people aren't going to college right now. That's apparently in their basements, so they can go to college online. And I remain skeptical of online education. It has a role. I think that, for example, when we had synchronous, meaning live online education, meaning you turn it on and there's the professor and you're talking to the professor, it's part of a class, I think that's a very doable thing. This other form of online education it's the old, the back of the matchbook that you and I saw when we were kids, this correspondence school method. But now it's videos. You watch a 7-minute video. It can't be longer than 7 minutes, and we call it a module, or I call it a nodule, because cancer is a nodule. And you do this, and then you take a quiz. And if you don't pass the quiz, you take the quiz again. And you keep taking the quiz until you run out of any answers but the right answers. So, and that's how you're supposed to learn.
And well,
go ahead.
It's insane, because the goal is obviously to give unqualified people the concept of entitlement, because they pretend that they did something when only the online computer and they know that they did exactly what you just said, took the test 400 times and have no idea what the hell they did, right?
And now add AI into it, right? If it's not a multiple, well, even if it is a multiple choice question. So you set up another window on your computer or on your phone, and you type the question in, and then the answer's in, and then AI gives you the answer. Well, you can't do that in the classroom, or at least not generally if you have a class run by people like me who monitor what the students are doing, and you ask them a question, and you see them typing in the computer, you say, listen, close the screen on the question, on the computer. I just asked you a question. I don't need you to look it up in the book. I don't need you to figure it out. Think. I want you to think.
You've put your finger on the ignorance and arrogance of everything we face in political swindlers and swindlers in society, but they tell you that they're better than everybody else because they have some sort of degree they think. And it leads me to what I've been dying to talk to you, because one of the most outrageous and predictable and obvious scandals was this imbecile Ian Roberts in Iowa. I mean, that is unbelievable. He said he went to Yale, he went to Harvard, he went wherever the hell you wanted him to go.
The guy.
I mean, it
Tell
is
your audience, right? That's a superintendent guy out in Iowa, very charismatic guy, and all of these credentials. But it's starting to fall apart. It's starting to chip away, and nobody did a background check. Nobody determined, I'm sorry, that's not true. They hired a company to do a background check.
Yeah, that's even worse.
Didn't pick up on really key problems.
Well, I was a big fan of Catch Me If You Can, the Frank Abagnale scandal, but he did it in the 60s. This guy did it now, and it goes to show you that if you have people who are hiring people because of an agenda, because of a political affiliation, because of affirmative action, they can cultivate and ignore and create any credential that's needed. And in there lies the real problem. And you would think during this time when kids could cheat on a test by talking to their phone, we could avoid this kind of scandal. But you and I have talked about the scandal in Texas, where over 2,400 teachers paid $2,000 to get their teacher certificate. You look at the teachers in Chicago public schools, and you watch behind when they negotiate for their contracts. I don't think the teachers can read or do math. So you've got a big education problem, and computers may fill a void, of which I think AI and teachers can solve something with homeschooling and parent supervision. But they also can create more scallywags and more unqualified dimwits, can't they?
100%.
And in there lies the real problem.
Right. No, we need traditional education. We need education where people go into a building, they sit in a classroom, they demonstrate their ability. I heard a great line. You know what a 4-year degree, a college degree gets you? It demonstrates. People say, wow, what am I going to learn? I'm going to learn sociology, and then I'm going to go work in a business. I'm not using that. You demonstrate to the employer your ability to complete an ongoing, important task.
Yes.
But you don't demonstrate that if the way you learn is in 7-minute nodules that you AI your way through between 11 p.m. and 3 a.m. in your basement. You haven't demonstrated anything. And so I remain skeptical of this module-based online education. Go ahead.
The reason the government loves it is because the government's never made more money on something that has no consequences, and that is student financing. And that to me is you could look at the cost of college, and you could look at the debt of students and parallel it from when Barack Obama usurped that entire business. So today, I don't know if you heard, Donald Trump is floating the idea of selling that debt because the government really cannot collect it and doesn't want it. After all, it's debt that has a time frame of 40 years on it because of the way in which they do not disclose what debt is to the most financially ignorant sector of our society, children. These same kids couldn't buy a car or get a mortgage, but they can sign for a $300,000 loan they don't know about, let alone the terms of it. So Trump is trying to reprivatize it, which can be good. There's no question about it. But unless they make it harder to get those loans, it really doesn't fix the problem, right?
Right.
You have to make it hard. Only kids who deserve those loans should get those loans.
If you track the cost of education, it goes up every time we create more loan programs. Why? Because, you could have paid $5,000 out of your pocket, but we, the schools, have lobbied that you are entitled to student loans after all. And we won for your benefit. So now you can take out $20,000 per year. And guess what our tuition is? $25,000. 20 you took out in loan, the 5 you got in your pocket. So you didn't save a penny.
No.
We just charge you more money.
And that's not bad, considering what some of these colleges cost, really.
Oh, no, that's a made-up number. That number don't exist anymore.
Right, and you had a lot of kids drop out. They take the loan, they drop out, they don't commit, and that's the rest of it. But you guys also were involved in a little bit of scandal. Now, you and I talked, the last time we talked was the day after our friend Charlie Kirk was assassinated. Mm-hmm. And, everyone is still reeling from it, but not necessarily. Not necessarily in the education circles. I didn't know this until I read this article, but did you have somebody that was hired for you that celebrated that?
You're going to love this. So we hired a woman to take over our tax law clinic at the law school at which I teach. And good credentials, solid credentials, not Harvard wasn't calling her, and that's quite okay, by the way, because if Harvard was calling her, we wouldn't, or any of us, me included, by the way, we wouldn't be working here. But we, by the way, we have a really solid faculty with excellent credentials, really impressive stuff. Actually, speaking of Harvard, we have one faculty member with, I think, 3 degrees from Harvard. I mean, come on, share a little. Don't be so greedy. We hired this person, like I said, with good credentials, and it turns out after Charlie Kirk was assassinated, murdered, she's celebrating, as you've seen various people do. She's doing it on Facebook. She says some really creepy statements about when a good person dies, an evil person should die. And by the way, using the word should, like future-oriented, should's a future-oriented word in the context of about violence is really uncomfortable. This became known a few days later. The school stepped in immediately. They did it right, by the way. Not by the way, let's focus on that. They stepped in and they suspended her pending an investigation. All of the senior government, the governor, the lieutenant governor, the AG said this woman needs to be fired. Now, they're not in the chain of command, but they expressed their First Amendment opinions as they're entitled to. And she was put, like I said, she was suspended. So I started to investigate thereafter, being that I write a column for the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette, and I find a litany, my friend, a litany of posts that are plain and simple anti-white people racist posts. You can characterize them no other way than that. So now we have an even bigger problem as far as I'm concerned, because we have the anti-Kirk statements. That's protected if it's just, I'm talking about in general, those people that have made anti-Kirk statements that are just anti-Kirk after his death, not nice, but protected by the First Amendment. If you're a government employee, you have slightly less protection, but there have been, like there's a teacher in another state who got reinstated temporarily, at least by a court, because they said, no, this she's allowed to say. So we had our professor making some more egregious anti-Kirk statements that may have passed the threshold to permit the school to fire her. But frankly, the thing that is far, far worse are these sort of vicious anti-white statements. There was one statement. I'm trying to think back. It's at she was referring to some incident where some black individual, I think, was harmed, and she said, "Black people are not the apex predators of humankind. That's white people."
Can I ask what was her pigmentation of her skin?
She's a black woman.
Oh,
she's an African American woman.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So it's really
so,
you know what it shows though is the lack of intellect. And before you said about the race, you know what I was going to say to you? I was going to tell you, you and I are lucky, and so many people listening, because we're older and we have a reference of character of a country where anybody of any affiliation would hear that a 31-year-old kid who's got a 2-year-old and a 1-year-old and a wife, and he gets killed. And I'm thinking back of the people I knew in my life that may have been Democrat or whatever. I can't think of a one that would be like, good.
Right.
And, to see what you have now, it reminds me of the threat that information poses to the deceiver. And if you look back, I have to say, and I had the really an honor, a pleasure by God. I'd met him and I argued with him. Robert, the first time I ever met him, we argued. And we laughed and I made fun of him. And he goes, "I like the way you argue. I like the way you look. You're 7 feet tall, you handsome son of a gun. Now get out. You look like Gregory Peck to me." I used to call him Gregory Peck. So anyway, I never really listened the way I should have to his actual arguments, because I knew him, right? And I would listen to his show. He'd let into my show. He's a couple hours before, and I would tune in and hear him. So I got his show. But when you looked at him on these college campuses, what was the threat, really? What was the reason to hate him? He would open up a discussion to anything, to anybody. He would say what he said, and then all right, you're done. And you're done. And I don't know, I'm sure you're like everybody else, and you probably have watched more Charlie Kirk than you did prior to this terrible tragedy. But when you look at that, and when you look at the result of what Turning Point was doing, just the outside, and we're going to have a conversation, why would a teacher, a professor like yourself, think about what it takes to be you, the knowledge, the work, the effort. Why would your character
be me, the good looks?
Or the good looks, I forgot that. Why would the character be so low that this kid would pose a threat to you? And the answer is because you're teaching a lie. That's what the threat is.
I've got a better one for you. So in my columns, I don't know if it was that one that you read, because I've been keeping up on this story, I also wrote about a retired dean emeritus from my law school who he posted around the same time. It was all in this Charlie Kirk post-assassination period. He said, amongst other things, that the things that Charlie Kirk said harmed people. This is a guy, by the way, who used to teach the Constitution, constitutional law. The things that Charlie Kirk said harmed people. Meaning not the things that Charlie Kirk advocated for that eventually became a policy, and that policy was harmful. Whether you think it was harmful or not, that's fine. but you can claim a policy is either harmful, helpful, or none of the above. But that he said the words supporting the policy, that in and of itself, according to this retired Dean Emeritus from my school who was teaching constitutional law to students, that in and of itself was harmful. And
well,
isn't that dangerous?
Isn't that why they killed everybody who ever said anything that threatened the political scams that went along, whether you go from modern day to Malcolm X even, and I don't agree with him on anything, but they killed him because he said what he said was dangerous and it was harming people rather than just debating it. Or you go all the way back to Jesus, right? Isn't that what the Romans and they said about Jesus? He's harming people. Right. And it reminds me of
precisely the point, my friend, which is what that Dean Emeritus is doing is he's giving fuel to the crackpots that, like the guy that killed Charlie Kirk, and I don't know his particulars, but there are enough of them out there that I can make this general claim. If it doesn't apply to him, it probably does, by the way, that you're giving fuel to the crackpots that use violence to shut people up, because you're telling them that the thing you're shutting up is essentially itself violent, and it's not. It simply is not.
Boy, oh boy, it's tough to live with these imbeciles, isn't it? I don't know how you do it. Dr. Robert Steinbuch, I seclude myself from all morons. I refuse to talk to an entirely group of political people and half of the other group of people. So I give you a lot of credit for dealing with it, but I give you more respect because you're doing it for kids and you are impacting the future, my friend. And I love the fact that you're doing it. Professor of Law at the University of Arkansas, Professor Robert Steinbuch. And you're writing constantly, and I know the name of the paper, but I always forget the name of the site, the best way to go to it. What is it?
That's all right. I write for the Arkansas Democrat Gazette. You can look it up online. There is a paywall, and you can always get in touch with me on my email or Facebook. It's, Rob Steinbuch.
That's all right. We're capitalists. Everybody listening to this show, I don't have one communist, and if I do, they're chewing on a steering wheel. Thanks for making time for me.
God bless.
You too, brother. We'll be back with your calls and comments.
He will never negotiate his constitutional rights with the government. Live free or die on the Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
Hey, it's Scott Tucker, and I'm here with
Amy Jacobson
from Retirement Dakota with Scott Tucker and Amy Jacobson here on AM 560, The Answer. Now, I'm a financial advisor, and Amy's the co-host for our program. Amy, recently President Trump signed the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. A lot of folks aren't realizing, Amy, that if they have highly appreciated assets, they can potentially tax defer the capital gains tax, place that money into a qualified opportunity fund, and then 10 years from now, get back out of that investment and pay no capital gains tax on either investment. Have you heard of such a thing, Amy?
I did not know about that. That seemed to be hidden in the bill.
It's only 900 some pages.
Yeah,
we have to pass it to see what's in it.
An easy beach read, yes.
Yes. And now there's another thing in the bill as well, Amy. Section 1202. Amy, did you read Section 1202?
I did not, but thank you for the homework assignment.
If you're a small business owner, many small business owners can now sell their small business and potentially pay no federal capital gains taxes on that capital gain of selling their business.
Wow.
If you'd like to get a free copy of my latest book, Escape Illinois, Should I Stay or Should I Go? Text the keyword book, that's BOOK, to 224-496-3999. Text the keyword book to 224-496-3999. In addition to the free copy of my latest book, Escape Illinois, Should I Stay or Should I Go? You'll also get our entire Retirement Decoded toolkit. We'll also give you the opportunity to talk to us 15 minutes for free over the telephone and at another time so we can go through the One Big Beautiful Bill Act with you, show you how to potentially sell your highly appreciated assets and pay no federal capital gains tax, how qualified opportunity funds work, and also if you're a small business owner, how to potentially pay no capital gains on the sale of your small business through Section 1202 of the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. Text book to 224-496-3999 or call that very same number, 224-496-3999.
Investment advisory services made available through AE Wealth Management, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Firm does not offer tax advice.
Uh-oh. Did your network just hiccup again? Don't worry. This isn't our first rodeo.
In fact, we've been wrangling Chicago's toughest IT problems for nearly 30 years. At Turnkey, we're the behind-the-scenes heroes keeping your email flowing, your servers running, and your team smiling. Think of us as your own IT department without the overhead. We handle everything from cybersecurity to server refreshes, software updates to user support. And yes, we even fix that printer your team swears is possessed. With decades of experience and a local team right here in the Chicago area, we don't just solve problems, we prevent them. So you can focus on running your business, not rebooting it. Visit turnkey.pro today, and your first month of service is absolutely free. That's right. Your IT problems could be history before the next billing cycle, because around here, downtime is not an option. That's turnkey.pro.
Less than a month away, Freedom Summit. Tickets are now on sale. There's enough time, and there's different tickets for every budget out there. So I really do hope I see you there. It's happening Saturday, November 8th at the Westin Chicago Northwest in Itasca. And every year we bring somebody else in. Well, this year it's a big hit. We have Dr. Ben Carson, Scott Jennings, and Mike Gallagher. I'll be there, Dan Proft will be there, and you'll be there. I sure hope you will. The event sells out every year, so don't wait. And then when it sells out, if you call, we can't get you in because now we sell all the tickets up front. It's really simple. Go to freedomsummitchicago.com. That's freedomsummitchicago.com. Tickets are available for every price range, several different price points, but they are limited. So do not hesitate to go to freedomsummitchicago.com. When we get back, Verlon, you're definitely going to be first, then followed by Jim in Lake Forest. 312-642-5600 if you care to join the line after Patrick Johnson.
Thanks, Shaun, and good afternoon. 61 degrees in Chicago in the AM 560 newsroom on AM 560 The Answer. National Guard troops are expected to arrive in Memphis tomorrow, and the city is preparing the community for their arrival. Memphis's mayor says this is a different situation from the effort to federalize troops in cities like Chicago and Portland. Meantime, the Department of Homeland Security increasing its footprint in Chicago. Here's Jeff Manasso.
Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem in a White House cabinet meeting saying,
"We're purchasing more buildings in Chicago to operate out of. We're going to not back off. In fact, we're doubling down, and we're going to be in more parts of Chicago in response to the people there."
The secretary also hardening existing government buildings here with additional security measures, as hundreds of National Guard troops are also on the ground to protect facilities and agents in Operation Midway Blitz. To date, ICE says over 1,000 illegal immigrants, many of them criminals, have been arrested in the weeks since immigration enforcement began. In Chicago, Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
This news is a service of the AM 560 store. Order T-shirts, hoodies, and more from your favorite AM 560 brands, including Prompt University and The Shaun Thompson Show, when you go to 560theanswer.com/store. The next news coming your way at 6 o'clock. Continuous coverage of the latest news, traffic, and weather at 560theanswer.com on AM 560. Let's head to the traffic center. Check on the roads with Jill Urchak.
On the outbound Edens, there are no problems to report, but the Kennedy has an accident inbound at Foster, hour and 20 going in, 1 hour back out to the airport. Eisenhower, 1 hour and 10. Post Office to 390 Stevenson, 55 minutes. To Sabo Lakeshore Drive out to 355. There's an accident on the exit ramp to northbound 355. Dan Ryan out 30. Tighten the Express 31st to Marquette. On DuSable Lakeshore Drive, it's busy either way. Tri-State northbound remains closed between Toohey and Dempster with a car fire, and there's an accident in the center lane at 127. This traffic update is quickly delivered to you by Quick Delivery Service. Why are you sitting in Friday traffic? Time is money. When you need your important items delivered quickly, Quick Delivery Service will be there to pick it up and take it to its destination. Go to quickdelivery.com. From the AM 560 The Answer Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchak.
Now, your official weather forecast.
Tonight, mostly clear skies with a low of 49. Tomorrow, expect intervals of sunshine followed by increasing cloudiness. High temperatures will reach 68. Tomorrow night, skies will partially clear with a slight chance of a passing shower. The low will be 49. Saturday will bring sunny conditions with a high of 64. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Protect your liver and give it the support it deserves with Active Liver from New Nordic. Find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS, Meijer Grocery, or online at Amazon or at newnordicusa.com.
Perhaps you're a collector, or perhaps all of a sudden you have a collection. Maybe it's an inheritance. How do you know what it's worth? This is Shaun Thompson for Donley Auction. The market for antiques and collectibles is changing all the time. What is your collection worth right now? Well, I've got an easy way to find out. It's simple. You contact Donley Auctions. With their worldwide audience of live and in-person auctions, they have a good idea of how to tell you exactly what it's worth at exactly right now. They're ready to put top dollar in your pocket. The bigger the collection, the better. Go to DonleyAuctions.com and get the info on all things that they buy and sell to have an idea of exactly what Donley does and how much they need your collection. They have so many buyers, it's a great time to sell. Just simply make a phone call. Donley has traveled all over the country to pick up collections. Just call and talk to the people at Donley Auctions at 815-923-7000. Donley Auctions is your trusted partner in turning your collections into cash. DonleyAuctions.com.
I'm not going to tell you what to do with your money. You're an adult, right? But you should know gold has increased over 80% in the past 2 years. Yeah, 80%. So if you think stuffing money under your mattress or riding the roller coaster of Wall Street is your retirement plan, well, I wouldn't want to be banking on that strategy. It's time to diversify your savings and retirement assets into physical metals like gold and silver. That's where Advantage Gold comes in. When you call 800-741-GOLD, we'll send you a free gold kit that explains how rolling over your IRA or 401k into gold could not only supercharge your retirement, but maybe even help preserve your sanity. And let's be real, when's the last time you ever heard someone say, "Hey, sell all your gold"? Exactly. Never. The number's simple. 800-741-4653. And if you can spell, even better. That's 800-741-GOLD. Always consult with your financial advisor before investing. Call 800-741-GOLD.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this hour of the Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. They need your guns. Sell for top dollar. DonleyAuctions.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
You know, when you hear of a professor like that moron in Arkansas, I did not know she was black. Racism. That's the problem with racism. See, I hate white people too. I do. Really, I hate the Marxists and the communists and the socialists. I can't stomach those rat bastards. Not to mention the Democrat voters for... You didn't know? He had soiled his Nassau-made trousers? You couldn't figure that out? Morons. Verlon!
What's going on, Shaun? It's a happy day today. Letitia James charged with mortgage fraud. Comey's charged with perjury. I would like for both of them to go to jail, but I don't think they will. Letitia James doesn't.
First of all, you did it again. I got the clip right in front of me. Let's do it together, shall we? I mean,
all right.
Letitia. 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 I don't see a no Letitia. No All right, go ahead.
Okay, I would hope for both of them to go to jail, but I don't think that's going to happen. Letitia does not have the money to pay a fine, so I hope her and Comey lose their law license so they can never practice law again. Now, my question to you is, what do you want to happen? What do you want to happen, and what do you think's going to happen?
Well, first of all, I want every asset that she perpetrated fraud to be seized. Everything. You know, the real people in the country don't get to do all this. So it reminds me, you know, in my neighborhood it's called a spacone. You know what a spacone is? A spacone walks around, he pretends he's got money, he pretends he did something in his life, whether he's a trust fund baby, maybe he's like a Pritzker. Pritzker's a little short, fat spacone. Never made $1 in his life. Never. Not a man. Letitia, you got real estate over here, you got real estate over there, you got a 5 flat, you got a 6, walking around like a real estate mogul, huh? Letitia, you're just a scumbag. You're just a fraudster. I want to see her on the corner with a big tin cup. Maybe that's the way we can get her to shrink down that panzone. She's got a belly button, needs a hubcap, that fat slob. What is it about they get big, the big woman, big? I say it's a yardstick of ass crap.
She's eating good. She makes enough money to eat good.
Dude, you better hope she never stumbles upon you all dolled up in the suit. It's over with. She'll be using you like floss.
I hope Pam Bondi's listening to us right now, because if she can, I hope she can up the charge to abuse of power of their office. That'll be a good charge.
Come on. Just on behalf of the toilet seats alone in that building. That's abuse of power. She was snapping those fracking things like Pritzker. Thanks for the call there, Verlon. Letitia. Jim in Lake Forest.
Hey, Shaun, great show. I listen to you every day.
Oh, thanks.
Just wanted to jump in on something with your previous guest was talking about the cost of higher education, and I see this, and it just blows me away because I went to undergrad and graduate school back in the late '60s at Indiana University, but I was fortunate enough to be able to work in the steel mills in Gary from Memorial Day to Labor Day. And with that, I could pay for room, board, tuition, books, entertainment, and a car for the whole time.
And you were a man, and you got to be a man.
Yeah, and I tell people that today, and they shake their heads. They're just like, "Oh my gosh!"
There is an article written in the Objectivist. I think it's like 1964 or 5. Ayn Rand, who had at the time in the Objectivist, and people would write in. And she had done a complete section on the reason that is so good on many levels, not just because you're paying for your education, but because you are stepping into adulthood. You are funding and financing yourself. You now, because you did that, you have character where you're not going to be wooed. Really, that's what it is, Jim. This is what our whole society had. And think about it. When you went to college, and even before, what was the slogan in college? Better dead than red. Meaning, I'd rather die than be a communist. That was what our colleges used to be when you went. And exactly. Look at and this was the Saul Alinsky genius of wrapping mafia tactics in ideological tissue paper. That's what he did. And he knew, and look at the Weather Underground. Where did those communist terrorists go? They went to college.
Exactly.
Right? And Antifa. And then today, Antifa is a terrorist. Well, where does Antifa really live? All of a sudden, nobody knows where the financing comes. I know where the financing comes. It comes from colleges. It comes from donors. It comes from ex-communists and Marxists and the Weather Underground. After all, they're all old now, right? And you remember the Weather Underground, that scumbag who's married to Bernadine Dorn. His father was the CEO of GE. Big trust fund baby.
Oh, yeah, you got it.
Big trust fund baby. So they have that legacy money. And that's where it comes. And now they've got their army of Antifa. But the good news is, Jim, Antifa was designated a domestic terrorist organization today. Did you know that?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I do. Yes, and that's great. You bet.
And you and your family, you've been able to pass that on. And it's not the money I speak of. It's the character. So now your grandkids can say, my grandfather put himself through school, bought a car, and was a man at 20 years old, at 19. Now look at it. Now you've got society and the government. They tell our kids, no, you go live with your mother and father till you're 30.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the mind takeover. It's a psychological coup.
And they bury him in debt, so they're beholding to them, to the government, to the hierarchy. Yeah.
Well, that's FDR, right? And the 19th century communist. When somebody's busted, they're pliable. They'll believe anything.
Oh.
Like Social Security is a trust, and you put your money into it, and your employer, and then it's yours. It's awesome. This is the greatest time because at least now it's undeniable what they are. They're Marxists and they're communists and they're socialists, and they've destroyed the quality of life in this country. But I think we can get it back, Jim, because of your stories and Donald Trump's policies. Thank you very much. Appreciate the call.
Thank you, John.
Thank you. That's what you have to understand. So when you hear, who's funding Antifa? Well, they're not very centralized. Yes, they are. They're centralized, and their social club headquarters is every college campus.
Turning now to some national headlines, President Trump says that he will designate the far-left anti-fascist group Antifa as a terrorist organization. In a social media post, Trump vowed to push for investigations into anyone funding the movement. The White House says it's one of several actions targeting what it describes as left-wing groups that fuel political violence. Citing
who else is funding it? Democrat politicians. When they send the people's money to NGOs. And then it turns out that the NGO funds the on-college campuses Communist Party called Antifa. Oh, we're going to cover that and more. 312-642-5600. We'll be back.
Call Shaun now. 312-642-5600.
You know what really keeps me up at night? It's the criminals feel more and more bold. They have no fear of any consequences because there are none. So I did what anyone with a family should do. I called Goldilocks. They're not just some cookie-cutter security company. Goldilocks has been protecting Chicagoland homes and businesses for 4 decades, 40 years. And they actually listen. Their technician comes out to the house. He takes a look at what you need to make your house a smart home with a security system you can monitor from anywhere. It's built specifically for me and my family. Motion sensors, smart locks, cameras, monitoring, all customized. I don't trust anybody in Illinois to protect my family. I do it, and I did it by calling Goldilocks. I trust Goldilocks to keep my house, my property, and my family safe. Tell them Shaun Thompson sent you, and Goldilocks will include 3 months free monitoring with any new installation. Call Goldilocks at 708-899-5600. That's 708-899-5600. Or visit them online at GoldilocksInc.com.
If you're looking to purchase a loved one's home after they passed away, you need to call Team Hochberg, your trusted local lender. Pam wanted to purchase her grandmother's $400,000 home after she passed away, which was left to Pam's father, Ted, and her Aunt Betty. Ted listens to my show and wanted to forego his half of the equity of his mom's home and sell Pam the home for $200,000. Bad move. I recommended Pam purchase the home for $400,000 and get a gift of equity from her father, Ted, for $200,000. Which enabled Pam to purchase the home with a lower rate and no money out of her pocket. Let's review. I helped Pam purchase her grandmother's home without having to bring a penny to the closing and secure a lower rate. Team Hochberg's helped thousands of radio listeners, but we can't help if you don't call 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. That's 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. Lower.com, equal housing lender, MLS 1124061.
AM 560, The Answer.
See, that's an experienced cigar smoker for a little ash problem. That's okay. You get over it. Now, what's funny about this Antifa, the organization is not just tied to transvestites and all kinds of communist parties. The organization was tied to January 6th. So the FBI had their assets, their snitches and their rats that they flipped. They had the direct employees. But Antifa was at J6th. I had the cut in the documentary of just a couple of scumbags who were dressing as Trump supporters.
What's the floor plan? Back door. There's a door to the right. That's a cop. Downstairs. Back, flipping around. Door to leave us. That's what we're going to do. Door's already open. We need a plan. We need enough people. We need to push forward.
All Antifa scum and FBI rats for that fraud January 6th. But we were warned about it by a woman who was really persecuted and prosecuted when the thief and the traitor, Joe Biden, the traitor, who was on the payroll from the Chinese and the oligarchs in the Soviet Union, he really tried to silence Sidney Powell, who I really liked. Always did. She was wicked smart. Well, she's back.
Sidney Powell warned that the U.S. intelligence community orchestrated a full-scale overthrow of the government in 2020. Powell, a former Trump administration attorney and the woman who successfully defended General Michael Flynn, warned that a successful coup was carried out that year, contrasting it with the failed attempts of 2016. Her previous warnings coming to the light as many are calling for full declassification of documents related to the 2020 election. She said, quote, in plain English, the intelligence community overthrew the U.S. government on November 3rd, 2020. Just wait, she said, if you thought 2016 was bad, wait until 2020 gets declassified. 2016 was just an attempted overthrow, she said. 2020 was the overthrow.
What I love about all of this? Hey, fat boy Adam Kinzinger and Nick Nolte from the mugshot, Liz Cheney. Be nervous. Be nervous. We're going to figure out how much money it took to buy your fraudulent lies, too. Glenn in Orlando.
Yeah, hey, Shaun. Letitia James's legal expenses, I think, are going to be paid through a slush fund that the New York Assembly passed when they passed their budget back in May, a 2026 budget they passed, which is a slush fund for legal expenses, which she can tap into. It was in the New York Post this year. So she might be laughing at all of us because not a penny comes out of her pocket.
Well, I'm not worried about the money she does to defend herself. What we're playing, when I play you these clips, this is the application, the mortgage applications and the documents that I'm more worried about. Whether she spends money on lawyers or not, I'm talking about what happens after it's adjudicated. That's the issue I have, because I want every asset that she pretended to buy legitimately seized, and hopefully it will. But one thing's for certain. I mean, the media can cover it up for all they want. They've been lying about every position the Democrats have. I mean, how many people talk about Chris Dodd, Barney Frank, and Joe Biden's fraudulent schemes with Countrywide? How many? So it's out there if you want to look, right? All you got to do is look. Thank you very much for the call. Rose in Elmhurst.
Hey, Shaun, this is a favorite fan of yours. Live in that crazy place, Elmhurst. I just want to correct you. Bill Ayers was not the CEO of GE. He was the CEO of Commonwealth Edison.
Oh, Thomas Ayers, his father. I know he was a trust fund. Baby. You're right. It was Commonwealth Edison. Yeah. Did I say? Yeah, you're right.
Company. There you go. Just a call.
Did I ever tell you, Rose, this is years and years ago, I was on the Eisenhower and I looked next to me because I like cars. And there's a triple black S 560, the big sedan. Now, this is like 2010, maybe 9. And it's Bill Ayers driving the big Mercedes AMG next to me.
Yeah.
I was hanging out of the window. I was hanging out of the window like a Chicago gangbanger screaming at him, "You communist son of a dog!" He got off to get away from me. But yeah, trust fund baby nonetheless. So you're right. It's Commonwealth Edison, not GE. But did GE, whatever happened? Did GE buy Commonwealth Edison or no?
No. They do business with it, but they don't have any. They don't have those kind of hands on them. Okay.
And then there was that Jack, that other guy that was the belle of Wall Street that ran at the Irish guy. Jack, what's his name? Welch?
Jack Welch. He's long gone.
Yeah, he was a scam artist too. He hit up when they went in the insurance business. They covered up the losses, and that's when the same guy who proved what Madoff was doing proved that GE, because he was GE, right? Welch proved that GE. He proved that GE was lying about the insurance money they lost. So, see, that's where I got my scumbags confused. Thanks, Rose, for straightening me out. Get my scum confused, squirrel. How much time I got? That much time, huh? Sorry, Megan. Sorry, Terry. The clock is my enemy. Fastest show on radio. We'll be back as soon as they let me.
Let's see. If something costs less, a lot less, but people are actually happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that's MediShare. Maybe you've heard joining MediShare can save you or your family up to $500 a month, and that's huge, but it's also true. People are just happier with it. They love being part of something that reflects and promotes their values and what they believe in. MediShare works, too. It's been around for 30 years now, and members have shared more than $7 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network, so yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care, whether you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan that you're happy with. Here you go. You can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. A very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. It's 833-34-BIBLE. That's 833-34-BIBLE. 833-34-BIBLE.
Chicago businesses, you can't afford to be down. You don't have time to wait for IT support. You need one company that does IT well and does it right. Meet Access One, your local Chicagoland IT experts. Access One has been powering Chicago businesses with secure, reliable IT solutions for over 30 years from our headquarters right here in the West Loop. Whether it's VoIP phones, dedicated internet, managed cybersecurity, cloud backups, or 24/7 support, Access One is here for you. Chicago owned, Chicago run, and serving thousands of companies from Naperville to the North Shore. Access One is the trusted IT partner for law firms, clinics, tech startups to manufacturers. Rated top 5% in customer satisfaction and a Better Business Bureau A+ rated business. Access One is your one vendor for everything tech. Let's talk. Call 800-804-8333 or visit accessoneInc.com. That's accessoneInc.com. Tech made personal, locally.
MyPillow is excited to announce they're having their biggest 3-in-1 sale ever. With a limited edition product, a back-in-stock special, and a closeout deal you won't find anywhere else. MyPillow bed sheets only $29.88. Any color, any style, any size. Even kings. Regular $119.98, only $29.88. Once they're gone for good. My Towels are finally back in stock, but not for long. Get a 6-piece My Towel set, regular $69.98, now only $39.98. And for the first and only time, get their limited edition premium My Pillows made with Giza cotton and a designer gusset. Queens $17.98, Kings only $19.98. Also, for a limited time, when your order is over $100, you'll receive free shipping plus $100 in free digital gifts. So go to mypillow.com or call 800-489-0201 and use promo code LIBERTY. That number again is 800-489-0201. Promo code LIBERTY.
This is Carol Platt-Liebau for townhall.com. America recently learned that Jay Jones, the Democratic nominee for Virginia Attorney General, sent text wishing death on a political rival and his children. Someone who fails such a basic test of personal decency is obviously unfit, morally and perhaps psychologically, to serve as any state's top law enforcement officer. But apparently it's not obvious to everyone. Although Democrats, including Virginia Democratic gubernatorial nominee Abigail Spanberger, condemned the remarks, not one called for Jones to withdraw from the race. Not one. That's as shocking as the remarks themselves. Democrats stand united in supporting a man who wished death on his opponent's child. Extremism won't be stopped by appeals from the other side of the political divide. Democrats must be policed by Democrats. But to their shame, they simply refuse to do it.
It's news, opinion, insight. It's AM 560, The Answer. WIND, Chicago.
Now, my next guest I've never talked to. After I pronounce his name, I may never talk to him again. But we are supposed to have a seasoned entrepreneur with a career spanning tech, satellite communications, emerging technologies. Originally from the trading floor in London, he has been at the forefront of everything communications, reliable, and solutions. We're going to talk about how we and our cities are encircled by a ring of foreign surveillance telecom networks. With Chris, here's the part. I always got one foot on the banana peel of this job anyway. Chris Hoare, After News.
He said you are a whore, and he speaks the truth.
They must stand down for now. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. A Chicago district judge has temporarily blocked the Trump administration's effort to deploy the National Guard to that city.
Federal Judge April Perry explained her decision in part, saying, quote, I have found no credible evidence that there is a danger of rebellion in the state of Illinois. Throughout the hearing today, Perry tried to drill down exactly what National Guard troops will be doing during their deployment. And Justice Department attorneys repeatedly could not answer her in any sort of detail.
Fox's Garrett Tenney in Broadview, Illinois. Judge Perry, appointed by President Joe Biden, also questioned the credibility of the administration's claims that the troops are needed due to violent protests at the Broadview ICE facility. Border Patrol Commander Greg Bovino tells Fox News it's a temporary setback. The Israeli cabinet has approved the outline of the deal to release the hostages held by Hamas. Phase 1 of the deal includes all remaining hostages and hundreds of Palestinian prisoners to be released. Fox's Jennifer Griffin is in Tel Aviv.
Fox News had the first official reaction from an Israeli minister after the deal was signed.
Is this the end to the war in Gaza?
This is the implementation of the first phase. There will be a ceasefire. And then the commitment within 72 hours of Hamas to release all the hostages. That should bring the end to this war.
A ceasefire had not yet taken effect when the IDF struck a suspected group of Hamas militants who got too close to them in northern Gaza.
The second phase of the plan includes Hamas withdrawing from Gaza and relinquishing its weapons. It's not clear how that will be implemented. New York Attorney General Letitia James calls it a weaponization of the justice system after she was indicted by a grand jury in Virginia on mortgage fraud charges related to a home she bought in that state in 2020. America is listening to Fox News.
How can you get from here to there? We've got the answer from the AM 560 Traffic Center.
On the Tri-State northbound, it is closed between Toohey and Dempster with a car fire, so traffic is very heavy into that. We're seeing delays either way. Just know that it's still shut down. Outbound Edens is okay. The Kennedy, an hour. Downtown to the airport. Inbound Eisenhower accident at York, hour and 25 going in, hour and 10 going out. On the Stevenson, 50 minutes to Sabo Lakeshore Drive to 355 and 30 minutes outbound Ryan. Express are jam Pershing to Marquette. An accident outbound 57 at I-80. Heavy conditions along due Sabo Lakeshore Drive in both directions. Traffic is a service of almostfreeteeth.com. Overpaying for dental implants is over. If you have medical PPO insurance, find out how you could save 90% off on average to get your smile back. Check if you qualify at almostfreeteeth.com. From the AM 560 The Answer Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchak.
Now, your official weather forecast.
Tonight, expect mainly clear skies with a low of 49. Tomorrow, anticipate some sunshine followed by increasing cloudiness, reaching a high of 68. Tomorrow night, skies will become partly cloudy with a slight chance of a shower and a low of 49. Moving into Saturday, prepare for sunny conditions with a high of 64. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. Ever wonder why the big wireless companies want you on an unlimited plan? It's because they need you to help cover the costs of the 20-somethings who are using a lot of data every month. Fact is, according to the latest research studies, most people 50 and up, like me, only use 12 gigs or less each month. Don't get bamboozled by big wireless. At Consumer Cellular, pick what suits your needs. Whether it's 1 gig, 5, 10, or unlimited, the point is, pay for exactly what you need and nothing more. We use the same towers as the big guys, but since we don't own and maintain them, we can pass the savings on to you. Our plans start at just $20 a month, and you'll get the best customer service in the business. I want to invite you to join the millions of people who choose something better than big wireless, because if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Game on, Chicago! It's Friday Night Delights at Big B Coffee. Every Friday, score big with $5 20-ounce specialty drinks. Hot, iced, or frozen favorites. Just $5. Perfect before the game, after work, or while cheering on your team. Don't miss out. Every Friday night at the brand new Big B Coffee, 309 West Lake Street at Lake and Wacker in the Loop. Big B Coffee, your Friday night victory drink.
Rising debt, stock market swings, and global shocks can affect your retirement. But even in this economy, there's still opportunity. Protect your retirement with a secure, tax-advantaged gold IRA. Instead of leaving a 401k or IRA at the mercy of markets, hold physical gold or silver. Real protection for your future. And Noble Gold makes it simple. Visit NobleGoldInvestments.com and chat with a specialist. The conversation is free, and the peace of mind is priceless. NobleGoldInvestments.com. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals involves risk. Consult your financial advisor before making investment decisions.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this hour of The Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. Get top dollar for guns and military items. DonleyAuctions.com.
From the streets of Melrose Park to the trading floor of the Merc, he's fought for every dollar he's ever earned. And now, with personal liberty and our system of capitalism under assault in America, he's here to seize back our rights from the government. With a cigar in one hand and a copy of the Declaration of Independence in the other, he's Shaun Thompson. And this is the Shaun Thompson Show.
Some folks are born made to wave the flag. Ooh, they're red, white,
2 days ago, Chinese communists in New Jersey were caught with 20,000 SIM cards. Week before that, more Chinese communists were caught with more tens of thousands of SIM cards. We have satellites, we have servers, all keeping track of every move we ever make. My next guest is a seasoned entrepreneur, a career spanning in tech, satellite communications, and emerging technologies. From the trading floors of London, we might be able to talk about floor trading, in the early digital markets in the U.S., he has helped build support businesses focused on practical, reliable communication solutions. And now, he is a disaster response and telecom national security spokesman for SAT123. His name is Chris Hoare. Chris, how are you?
I'm great, Shaun. It's a pleasure to be here, mate.
Well, I have to tell you, it's this is something lucky for us. We grew up when this wasn't the case, when enemies, foreign and domestic, didn't have access to every conversation, every bit of data, or, more importantly, a way to disrupt it as we have become more reliant on it. And when you think about our cities and our country in general, we'd be pretty easy to shut the services off, wouldn't we?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, look, it's everything we do, everything we rely on, the power grid, the telecom networks, water supply, air traffic control, and so on. And then not forgetting the financial markets, all completely rely on data and the internet communications. And so if you attack those markets, that's the lowest hanging fruit, right? Sending missiles and guns and warships to a country is expensive, but using cyber warfare is cheap and it's low hanging fruit.
And they're catching people now every few days, and it's really getting a little bit of coverage, right? I mean, I briefly talk about it, and the reality is when you catch a couple of Chinese communists with 20,000 SIM cards, people are like, so what? They're going to steal our Discover card information. But it can be more nefarious. What is the capability? What does that really represent when we hear that 2 Chinese communists are sitting in a studio room in New Jersey with 20,000 SIM cards?
Well, yeah, it was thousands of SIM cards. It was hundreds of servers that were in 5 separate locations, I believe. And what they were trying to do was create a denial of service attack. And we're used to hearing about those for websites, taking our websites, but they were using tens of thousands of SIM cards and hundreds of servers to basically flood cell phone networks and towers around the United Nations building. Now, they weren't successful, but they certainly were close. And this amount of servers and SIM cards can generate up to 30 million messages a minute, and that's enough to flood any cell tower network, any relay stations, any power switches, or anything like that. So it's certainly disturbing. I'm glad they didn't get to put it into action. But look, if you can imagine, if this were to happen across the country simultaneously, it could cause absolute chaos, John.
Well, and the reality is, as we lean more and more on this kind of technology, as we move forward with AI, the dangers become greater. But from what I understand, some of the simple issues that might save us is our military and our government have been very, very antiquated. So when you come to like the nuclear missiles, they're not operating on that kind of system that's connected, although there is a push to do it. You almost have to be suicidal to allow that to happen, don't you?
Yeah, look, I would definitely agree with you. I think, AI and stuff like that can be very helpful, in completing lots of tasks that otherwise humans would have to do. It can be more efficient. But, when it comes to putting it in charge of weapons and weapon systems, I think we need to be extremely careful because anything that's connected in that way is vulnerable, Shaun.
Yeah, well, Chris, when you grow up around Chicago Democrats, you really don't fear AI. It's the Chicago Democrats you got to be worried about. So I have a lot more faith in AI. But the hacking and the issue of it, it's always there, no matter how much we pretend we can guard it. And we have people like you and groups like yours that may be able to expose and crush it. But I have to ask you on a personal note, when you read, and I know you read everything, when you hear of the kind of president we had just a short time ago in Joe Biden, and you look at the systemic interwoven corruption of his brother and his son and the Chinese communists, how they infiltrated Dianne Feinstein for 20 years. They had a spy as her chauffeur. They've got a Fang who looked like a rake to me, but she was good enough to bang Swalwell. And you look at the Chicago Democrats interwoven with China. I mean, it might not just be the fact that they could attack us from outside. They could attack us from inside. I mean, they've been buying our politicians for decades now. Why do you think it's really not mentioned to me, as somebody who grew up during the Cold War, as with the kind of high risk it really represents? I mean, in the Cold War, if you heard Russia was contributing to a congressman, that was game over. They were thrown out, and everybody could agree. Now Americans are kind of used to it, aren't they?
Yeah, I think they are, and I think that's a real problem. Alongside that, where are we buying all of this equipment that we're all using, right? We're buying it from China. If you buy a home security system and you've got these cameras around your house, the way you access that is from an app on your phone. And that's really useful, right? And it's helpful, and we all do it. But who do you think's providing that app? Very often it's the same people who are making the equipment. That's the Chinese. Right? So they are able to look at all the feeds that you're putting up from your cameras all around your house and everyone else's house. And it's not just that. It's like the cranes that we use at the port. These are coming from China. control systems and control panels and switches to use on our infrastructure. The Chinese have been caught putting back doors into all of those as well. So we've got to be worried about way too much these days, unfortunately, mate.
If you wanted to clean it up, if you said, listen, I'm gonna call Chris, I'm gonna call his team, I'm gonna call other brilliant guys, and I want to sit everybody in a room and I'm going to say, listen, I want you to Chinese proof every server. I want you to Chinese proof every financial vehicle in this country. I want you to do it, and how long will it take, and can it be done?
I mean, unfortunately, at this point, I don't think it can be done. The point is, whoever makes the equipment, if it's connected to the internet, then the Chinese, the Iranians, the North Koreans, they can get access to it, and they can take it over. They can install malware.
So this is something I've always, you don't hear a lot about it, but to me, there's always an opportunity, even when there's silence among people in the know, and that is the internet itself. The internet itself, we can create another one. We can have an outer net. We can have an internet part 2. I mean, after all, drug dealers have been on the black or dark net, the dark web. So there is maybe the opportunity for America to get off the internet as it's known and create an entirely different network. After all, the one thing we know is that there's always opportunity among people that can do it. I mean, if Al Gore built this one, we can build the next one, can't we?
You definitely have a point. There's a lot we can do and we could be doing. The internet is, a general term these days, I guess, but it is 50 years old. So anything that's 50 years old, everyone knows, especially criminals, know the vulnerabilities.
Take it easy now, Chris. I could still fend off a couple of bikers. Now, let's not get crazy. Go ahead.
Well, I'm 50 myself, mate, so I get that. But, no, I think, one of the biggest problems that I see, Shaun, honestly, is that we have too much centralization. Right, our power grid is pretty much centralized. We've got all our eggs in one basket. Companies keep all of their data in one data farm, one data center. If we start to distribute that and have distributed data, then we're not reliant. We don't have a single point of failure, essentially. And I think this is one of the things we've got to be looking at. But certainly, yes, where there is a problem, there is opportunity. I totally agree with that.
Well, one of the things I like about Elon Musk is not just the particularly curious way he speaks, which I find intoxicating, but he's quite brilliant. And he, as an individual, owns more satellites than any company or any country. In fact, more than all the countries combined. So he has this wonderful opportunity to maybe circumvent the internet and secure Americans and American networks. Do you think maybe that's how his brain is working? Because he's always kind of, not sleeping, hanging upside down and thinking of things, isn't he?
Well, you're absolutely right. He definitely doesn't seem to sleep that much. But yeah, no, look, I mean, he's onto something. He created his own network, and it's satellite-based. And at sat123.com, we represent all of his products and services. But I think, one of the answers right now is an independent form of communication, and that's satellite phones. We do the satellite phones through the Iridium network, which is what the U.S. military has been using for 30 years. And look, most people don't realize this, but only 10% of planet Earth is covered by any kind of cell phone service at all. So if cell phones go down, in that 10% of the area, then we're all out of luck. Like you and I leave the house in the morning without our phones, the first thing we do is turn around and go back and get them, right? Mm-hmm. Just imagine if that phone was no good, not just for a few hours, but for days, weeks, or months. What are you going to do? And one of the few and only options is satellite phones, because satellite phones don't use any kind of ground-based infrastructure. They don't use cell towers. They communicate directly with the satellite. So that is something that the federal government do. It's what smart companies do, who are forward-thinking. They have redundant systems like satellite phones and satellite internet. So.
Yeah. Not to mention crooked politicians. Joe Biden got caught with one that nobody talked about for 8 years. So there are different ways to focus on this. I'm going to take advantage of having you on the phone. And what I mean by that is you were a floor trader in London, right? What were the years?
That was back in the early 90s. I traded funds primarily and the fund arbitrage. And were you on the Merc or the Board of Trade?
Well, both. The Merc, but when I was a kid, I was 20 years old. I had to go before a board and wait for my 21st birthday. I was trading bonds at the Mid-Am, which at that time had been bought by the Board of Trade, and I would clerk at the Merc and go back and forth. Then I eventually could trade at the Merc, and I traded everything. Pork bellies, euro dollars. I ended up in the S&Ps for years. But I'm a meathead, right? Just a neighborhood meathead. But if you paid attention, and you understood fundamental economics, supply and demand, you could read and forecast and have an opinion, you could make money. Just an average meathead from a neighborhood. And in those exchanges in Chicago, that's who worked there. Guys who weren't necessarily going to go to Harvard or Oxford by any chance. And what they did is they went there and they did well for themselves because they were capitalists and they understood the ebb and flow of markets. And I watched it. I was there from 1987 to 2005. And I left when everything started to go on the computer and they started to change the rules of open outcry. And I couldn't help but notice how they were always hiding behind verbiage, right? There's an algorithm, and we're going to work with a black box. Goldman Sachs has a black box. And then the minute that happened, the markets went skyrocketed, and they were immune to any economic fundamentals, any principles. And the reason is they were able to move out those big mouths from the neighborhoods. Guys like me and my friends who Goldman Sachs, they couldn't just trade it with another firm. They had to expose it to the pit. We would eat them up and spit them out. That's how we made our money. That was arbitrage to a certain extent, right? And I really believe when I look back at this and you look at Wall Street and you look at how they took it from an open outcry system that could manage a cyber attack, for lack of a better way to commingle the topics. But you look at it all and the settlement prices and the rest of it and the arguing that took place. And you look at the way in which Wall Street itself, at that time that they were taking it off the floors around the country, around the world, how they were always in bed, and it really spiked with China during that time. I mean, Goldman Sachs was big but it was diversified. It had to be, right? It couldn't do it. Now you have all of these conglomerates on Wall Street, these handful, and they are neck deep in bed with China, with our markets, with the computers. Have you ever thought about that? Could have never happened if they wouldn't have changed the rules of open outcry in the first place, could it?
Yeah, and I mean, to me, it's undemocratic apart from anything else. Dark pools are called dark pools for a reason. Like in a pit, you would get a fast market. Yeah, it was chaotic, but the traders would sort the price out. It would get done, and it could, you and I saw that those markets handle absolutely anything. From pulling out of the ERM to the interest rates being hiked multiple times in one day, but the markets were still there at the end of the day, and the settlement price was agreed upon. But today, who knows what happens? Nobody.
But you see how they ran it straight up. You look at it since 2009, since the collapse. It does whatever it wants. It's immune to any real economic realities, any fundamentals, any opportunity of what we used to have as a day activity, a trading day activity. And now we don't really know who trades, right? And you saw for a little while the guys like me and you would go and I'm going to go trade on the computer, and they got their ass handed to them because they were trading as if they were on the floor with fundamentals. They didn't realize now it's just fraternity trading. These are fraternity guys just running this thing any way they want, and there's no oversight. Who looks at it the way we used to have the oversight? And what I'm getting at, I just believe it's a financial crime that's been hidden as a cover-up of an advancement of technology. Have you ever looked at it that way?
Yeah, no. Look, I would tend to agree with you, mate. I mean, we don't know what happens. We've seen these kind of flash crashes, but honestly, I mean, I think it's a house of cards. At some point, this thing, what goes up must come down, and it will, but it's gone up so much since then, it's going to be pretty hard to swallow next time it happens, and I think that's the problem.
Well, one of the things I think you have to keep an eye on is what your specialty now is. And the idea of we have to be aware if we're going to lean more and more on technology of different ways to scrutinize it, different ways to audit it, different ways to pick it apart, but more importantly, different ways to make sure it's not hacked by enemies, foreign and domestic. So I can't wait to find out for that new Elon Musk web thing. When that starts, will you give me a call?
Yeah, I sure will.
Well, listen, I appreciate you making time for me. The website, tell me a little bit about what we can do when we go to it.
Yeah, it's sat123.com. That's SAT123.com. You can get yourself a satellite phone for free with activation. We're the only ones in the world who do that.
Wow.
These are $2,000 handsets, and everyone else is charging you for them. But, yeah, free with activation. And then you can basically have redundant, reliable communication no matter where you go. What's going on. If the cell phone towers are down, your cell phone's going to keep working. If you go off the grid and you're going hunting or fishing, your satellite phone's going to keep working. Cell phones won't be any good to you out there. And if they do collapse the whole system, your satellite phone's still going to work. So that's one thing we do. We do the Starlink Internet units. We do those for free with activation as well. And then we have other things like solar-powered portable generators so you can keep the power on. And also, most importantly, we have Faraday bags to make sure that your data from your phone can't be stolen while you're walking down the street.
So I am an Ian. I've survived every hurricane in Florida since I moved here from Chicago, and it was fascinating to live through that stuff. And my backup became Starlink because it was you couldn't get the other stuff on. So I've been through just a taste of it to have the show on. So if I go to sat123.com, you're telling me I get a sat phone for free, or as it's known in my neighborhood, GOTS, nothing.
That's right. You can get it free with activation. You're paying just $85, $90 a month. You're getting 150 minutes for that can roll over, just like a cell phone plan. But your phone is going to work when no one else's phone does. When the power goes down, where you're hit by a hurricane, a wildfire, or a cyber attack, and the power grid's offline and so the cell towers, you're going to be the only one left standing.
Well, this is absolutely fantastic, Chris. So it's going to be you that builds the new internet. I absolutely love it. Just go to Sat123. I'm proud to have you on, and I'm glad you did this for people to give them an alternative because, like you say, I really do. I believe at this point they're almost stupid if they don't take it down, right?
Yeah, look, I would agree with you. It's too easy, and for a nation state that wants to disrupt this country, the communications network is their first port of call.
Now, you should have made it so that if I hit a button, a little knife shoots out of the back so we could prep and communicate at the same time. But we'll start slow. You need any more ideas, you've got my number. You got anything you think we need to know about, please come on. In the meantime, we're going to keep an eye on www.sat123.com.
Awesome, Shaun. Thanks so much, mate.
Thank you, Chris. We'll be back with your calls and comments.
What if everything you've been told about government, healthcare, poverty, energy, and even science is a carefully constructed lie? In Shaun Thompson's new book, What If It's All a Lie? Shaun Thompson dismantles the myths at the core of modern America. This is the book the ruling class doesn't want you to read. And once you do, you won't see the world the same way again. Order your copy today at ShaunThompsonShow.com/book.
Did you know that AM 560 Radio has a full-service digital marketing division called Salem Surround? If you're a business decision maker, listen up. AM 560 listeners are everywhere your potential audience is. So are our incredible targeting capabilities. We localize digital marketing and put it within reach of every business, small and large, in Chicagoland and beyond. Salem Surround offers AI-powered marketing solutions that reach your ideal audience. Whether or not you tap into the proven live, local, and emotional connection that AM 560 Radio brings, Salem Surround offers a total marketing solution to our partners. All-in-one digital solutions that provide targeted local digital and social media ads, Google AdWords management, website services, video strategy, search optimization, and even a management dashboard to offer you total campaign updates and transparency. Your Salem Surround representative is located right here in Chicago. Experience the Salem Surround digital revolution today. Call 847-472-8951. That's 847-472-8951.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hi, I'm Tony Dreyfus, founder and president of Metropolis Coffee Company and a proud new customer of Signature Bank. We're a 19-year-old specialty coffee roaster located in the heart of Chicago. Some of your favorite restaurants and cafes serve our coffee. As a small business manufacturer, we understand the importance of working with the right bank, and that's why we made the move to Signature Bank. We were tired of the impersonal service that our large bank had provided. A friend referred us to Signature Bank, and their team was on site to understand our operations firsthand. They provided us the working capital to continue our successful business operations and to fuel our ambitions for innovation and growth. We now have the flexibility to grow at our own pace. That personal touch, you can't find that at a large bank, but we found it at Signature, and we can't thank them enough.
Signature Bank helps local businesses succeed. Let Signature Bank turn your business vision into reality. Visit signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
MyPillow is excited to announce they're having their biggest 3-in-1 sale ever. With a limited edition product, a back-in-stock special, and a closeout deal you won't find anywhere else. MyPillow bed sheets only $29.88. Any color, any style, any size. Even kings. Regular $119.98, only $29.88. Once they're gone for good. My Towels are finally back in stock, but not for long. Get a 6-piece My Towel set, regular $69. $59.98, now only $39.98. And for the first and only time, get their limited edition premium MyPillows made with Giza cotton and a designer gusset. Queens $17.98, Kings only $19.98. Also, for a limited time, when your order is over $100, you'll receive free shipping plus $100 in free digital gifts. So go to MyPillow.com or call 800-489-0201 and use promo code LIBERTY. That number again is 800-489-0201. Promo code LIBERTY.
You've heard me talk about Northridge for years, but now I want you to hear from one of their recent graduates, TJ Gorman, who just graduated second in his class in Marine Corps Basic Training. This is what he said. I was blessed to attend Northridge not only for the education, but for the values and principles my mentors instilled within me. The school taught us what it meant to be a leader and lead through example, hard work, humility, and empathy. I thank God for Northridge. That's what makes Northridge Prep great for young men. The students are called to excellence to become true leaders. And these boys want to go to school each day. They love Northridge because they can be free to learn, to grow, and to be challenged. There's a real spirit of adventure on campus that you've just got to experience for yourself. For nearly 50 years, they've partnered with parents like no other school in the Chicagoland area. Today, in our nation, we need more Northridge graduates to lead the way as men of intellect and character who love God. Guys like TJ Gorman, men who put their values first. Their open house is Sunday, October 19th at 1 p.m. for boys in grades 6 through 12. Register at northridgeprep.org. northridgeprep.org.
Hey, I'm Brant, and her name is Sherry.
Hello.
She's a friend of mine whom we were just praying for because of a surgery she just went through.
Yes, and I am very happy about something you actually talk about all the time, which is
MediShare.
That is right.
Yeah. So what was your experience like with MediShare and the healthcare bills?
Honestly, Brant, seamless. And what a blessing that is when you're already nervous about a health issue, which I was.
Yeah.
Members shared my expenses. There were zero problems. And let me tell you, having people pray with you when you call in with your need, that is just...
It is refreshing.
Yes, that's what it is.
What I keep telling people, people love MediShare, and they love saving tons of money, too. The typical family can save $500 a month.
I am very thankful for MediShare. It is so different, and I mean different in a very, very good way.
It is good different. Call now. They're easy to talk to, and you can get a price within 2 minutes. Call 833-34-BIBLE. That's 833-34-BIBLE. 833-34-BIBLE.
Making money is only half the equation. If you're an honest earner in a crooked world, you live on 50% of your money. 50%. So whatever you think you make, you're paying taxes. You're lucky if you walk with 50%. Depends on how much you make. So it's not just making, it's spending. It's managing debt and costs. And that's why all people can get into trouble. There are different options out there you may be unaware of, like a fresh start debt consolidation mortgage. I actually called David Hochberg about a week ago, and we were talking about debt. I was thinking about going back in the cigar business, all different kinds of things. And I said, what should I do? Should I take advantage of this? Should I do that? And I told him what I was thinking about doing. And he let me know, if you even take a small business loan right now, you're going to pay 10% on a small business loan. Now, if you take a mortgage and you could wrap it, you could do this. Or if you have a banker that gives you credit, you could wrap it. And it turns out that, once again, David Hochberg gave me advice where he didn't do my mortgage. Now, he has done a mortgage for me. He's done mortgage for my family, for my friends, for my clients. He's done mortgages for tens of thousands of radio listeners throughout the Chicagoland area. He's licensed in 3 states. And Team Hochberg can help you by keeping you abreast of new options that you may not know of, like the Fresh Start Debt Consolidation Mortgage. You're far better off taking advantage of this than paying 26% to some credit card company, as they completely control the debt through the manipulation of VIG, as it's known in my neighborhood, or interest, as it's known in the rest of the world. You can call 855-563-2843. Team Hochberg has helped me, tens of thousands of AM 560, hundreds of thousands of AM listeners throughout the Chicagoland area. He's done billions of dollars in mortgage, and if it's not right for you, he'll tell you what he told me. Don't do it. Go on the other route. 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. That number again is 855-563-2843. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1124061. When we get back, Eric and Marengo will be first. 312-642-5600 if you care to participate after news.
All right, Shaun, thanks a lot. It is currently in Chicago, 60 degrees in the AM 560 newsroom on AM 560. The Answer. I'm Patrick Johnson. Tensions heating up between the president and leaders in the state. The White House considering invoking the Insurrection Act. The president blasted Governor J.B. Pritzker and Chicago's mayor, accusing them of failing to protect ICE officers.
I've seen the law, and when you have a group of people where the police call off the safety for ICE officials, I've understood that, and I've read it today in numerous journals, that that's illegal.
National Guard troops have been stationed to help watch over an ICE detention facility outside of the city. State and city officials are taking legal action to block the deployment. Custom and Border Protection Chief Patrol Agent Greg Bavino on his reaction to the move being made by Democrats.
We have a governor and a mayor that want crime to happen in the city, that are advocates of criminal illegal aliens walking the streets of the city in broad daylight, harming American citizens.
Cubs will try to force a Game 5 against the Brewers. 8 o'clock will be the first pitch time from Wrigley Field this evening. Game 4 of the NLDS. This news is a service of almostfreeteeth.com. Overpaying for dental implants is over. If you have medical PPO insurance, find out how you could save 90% off on average to get your smile back. Check if you qualify at almostfreeteeth.com. Let's head now to the traffic center. Check of the roads with Jill Urchat.
On the Tri-State northbound, still shut down between Toohey and Dempster with the car fire. Crews remain on the scene. We do have delays either way. In fact, southbound, there's an accident at the Cermak Toll Plaza. On DuSable Lakeshore Drive, also heavy either way. Going outbound on the Kennedy, 55 minutes downtown to O'Hare, while the outbound Eisenhower is 1 hour, post office to 390. Stevenson, 55 minutes, DuSable Lakeshore Drive to 355. And the outbound Dan Ryan, 25 minutes to 95th, slowing down in the express lanes. 47th to Marquette, inbound 57, a crash at 123rd, and outbound 1 at I-80. This report is sponsored by Aleve. Life doesn't wait, and neither should you. Aleve can help you deal with pain less throughout your day. With just one pill, Aleve lasts up to 12 hours. Don't let those aches and pains hold you back from doing what's important to you. Use as directed. From the AM 560 The Answer Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchat.
Now, your official weather forecast.
Tonight, mostly clear skies with a low of 49. Tomorrow, expect intervals of sunshine followed by increasing cloudiness. High temperatures will reach 68. Tomorrow night, skies will partially clear with a slight chance of a passing shower. The low will be 49. Saturday will bring sunny conditions with a high of 64. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Protect your liver and give it the support it deserves with Active Liver from New Nordic. Find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS, Meijer Grocery, or online at Amazon or at newnordicusa.com.
You know, it was 2 years ago that terrorists murdered more than 1,200 innocent Israelis and took 250 hostages. And today it seems as if the cries of the dead and dying have been drowned out by shouts of anti-Semitism. And the most brutal attack on Jewish people since the Holocaust has been forgotten by many. Yet, as the world looks away, there is a light that shines in the darkness. United in faith, Christians in America will boldly stand with Israel this month by participating in a growing movement known as Flags of Fellowship. Flags of Fellowship unites churches across America, planting over 1 million Israeli flags across our land. Together, we will combat hate and the scourge of anti-Semitism, one flag at a time. And through our prayers, we can save lives, bring hope, and be a part of seeing a brighter future unfold. This October, please join us by donating your flag. Show the world Israel is not alone. To get more information about how you can join Flags of Fellowship and its movement, go to ifcj.org. That's ifcj.org.
You know what really keeps me up at night? It's the criminals feel more and more bold. They have no fear of any consequences because there are none. So I did what anyone with a family should do. I called Goldilocks. They're not just some cookie-cutter security company. Goldilocks has been protecting Chicagoland homes and businesses for 4 decades, 40 years. And they actually listen. Their technician comes out to the house. He takes a look at what you need to make your house a smart home with a security system you can monitor from anywhere. It's built specifically for me and my family. Motion sensors, smart locks, cameras, monitoring, all customized. I don't trust anybody in Illinois to protect my family. I do it, and I did it by calling Goldilocks. I trust Goldilocks to keep my house, my property, and my family safe. Tell them Shaun Thompson sent you, and Goldilocks will include 3 months free monitoring with any new installation. Call Goldilocks at 708-899-5555. 708-899-5600. That's 708-899-5600. Or visit them online at GoldilocksInc.com.
Rising debt, stock market swings, and global shocks can affect your retirement. But even in this economy, there's still opportunity. Protect your retirement with a secure, tax-advantaged gold IRA. Instead of leaving a 401k or IRA at the mercy of markets, hold physical gold or silver. Real protection for your future. And Noble Gold makes it simple. Visit NobleGoldInvestments.com and chat with a specialist. The conversation is free, and the peace of mind is priceless. NobleGoldInvestments.com. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals involves risk. Consult your financial advisor before making investment decisions.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this hour of the Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. They need your guns. Sell for top dollar. DonleyAuctions.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Move happened yesterday you should know about when it comes to the infiltration of the Chinese communists into our government. It's not just the fact that they own a tremendous amount of Democrats, senators, and congressmen. They do. They also have assets in very high positions in our government.
Huge breaking news within the State Department. Secretary Marco Rubio, with the approval of the President of the United States, Donald Trump, has just fired the Foreign Service Officer, Daniel Choi, who we at OMG caught on hidden camera, revealing his romantic relationship with a CCP affiliate, possible Chinese spy.
I defied my government for love.
Now, according to a new statement from the State Department, quote, today, after presidential review and approval, the Secretary of State has terminated a Foreign Service officer, also known as FSO, who concealed a romantic relationship with a Chinese national with ties to the Chinese Communist Party. Executive
Eric Swalwell is offering No King's swag you could buy from his store, a hat and shirt, and people will, and they will not realize that as the intelligence committee, as a congressman, he was stooping Fang, a Chinese communist. Eric in Marengo.
Hey, Shaun, I have no idea how the stock market works. I just imagine you guys smoking cigars, trading other people's money. But I can tell you one thing.
I never traded anybody's money, just mine. Go ahead.
Okay, I get it. All I know is I looked at my 401k the other day, and it's went up 18% in 8 months. Like, so something's going on good with the economy, no?
No. The stocks are a currency of that individual company. When you look at the stocks that grow on fundamental principles of more business, of new business, of different directions and innovations, what are they? And the answer is not many, if any. AI makes up 7 stocks. 7 stocks of AI are the ones that are really dragging things up for the most part. But what it really shows is that the dollar you use to buy that other currency of that company, that dollar in your wallet, that dollar you busted your ass for today, that has less and less value. It's a reflection. So sometimes the market going up isn't good, like gold, 4,000. That's not good. It's not good at all. Not everybody, not just because not everybody has gold. But it's not good because it shows you the real destruction of these political whores called politicians, and it really focuses on what this
right?
of what this right. Well, that's true, but it shows you a bigger picture of what this shutdown, and if the Republicans cave, of which I think they will, and they continue to perpetrate this crime, 85% of our debt has been since George W. Bush's first term. That is a staggering fact, kid. That's staggering. So people are celebrating, woo, we're still got our house and all this. But the broader problem is if they cave on this spending, if they continue to subsidize not just the welfare roaches domestic, but foreign, if they continue to lie about what the real cost and the destruction Obamacare was to the country, and you're putting lipstick literally on a pig, right?
Oh.
And I didn't even cover that Katie Porter, speaking of lipstick on a pig, that fat Democrat broad from California. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
So celebrate when you can. I mean, it's good you got stock. You offset the loss. Celebrate that. You were good enough and smart enough and your company invested enough to offset the loss of whatever that 401k is worth. There are ways to offset it, and that's important. But I want a trajectory of an economy so that kids we don't know yet because they haven't been born in the next 30 years have an opportunity to have a quality of life we take for granted. Thank you very much, brother. Eileen Wilmette.
Hi, Sean. I just wanted to mention that I would bet that Eric Swalwell's swag is all made in China.
Oh, come on. Of course it is. He still has to have a reason to call the Gumad. Fang Fang. Are my shirts ready, Fang Fang? Did you ever take a look at Fang Fang, Eileen? Did you ever do it?
No, because I haven't turned
Oh, Eileen, Google it, please. Because there's another little tidbit. They're very ugly people.
my screen.
No, but they're very ugly people. They're very ugly. Like Katie Porter. Have you seen Katie Porter?
Most Democrats are. Oh, my gosh, yes.
She's got a big buffalo head, and she threw the hot potatoes on the husband's head, too, and everything. And did you hear the get out of my shot clip, Eileen?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
it's priceless.
It's a treasure trove of just bad behavior.
My word. She's ugly, proving beauty may be skin deep, but ugly is to the Democrat bone marrow. Thank you very much, Eileen. I appreciate it. Let's fill everybody else in, shall we?
If we don't electrify our transportation sector, that we're going to lose more than 500,000 Californians dying prematurely.
Now, did we have to beep this one? She may swear. Hand on the button, squirrel.
To air pollution and other problems, and the state could lose. Get out of my shot.
I wanted to tell you that that's actually incorrect. It's not that it's electric vehicles. It's that.
Now, why would the girl just continue to have a conversation? That's when you pick up a pen and you hit her in that buffalo head of hers. What are you, out of your frickin' mind? Who are you talking to like that, fatso?
If we don't meet the commitments under the Paris Climate Accord.
Okay, it does. Okay, you also were in my shot before that. Stay out of my shot. Okay, I'm going to start.
I really hope. No, I really do. I hope that fat, ugly woman becomes the governor of California. That's what the Democrats deserve. Just in the same way the Chicago Democrats, you deserve, Brandon. You deserve it. Now wear it.
What do you say to the 40% of California voters who you'll need in order to win, who voted for Trump?
How would I need them in order to win, man?
Well, unless you think you're going to get 6.
By the way, that contempt, that's why they steal elections. That contempt that they have for you is why they finance domestic terrorists. And when I say they, Katie Porter was a congresswoman. Sure she is. And I'm not doing the Crocodile Dundee test on her. The policies that were cut fund Antifa. That's the broader point. And that's why I play this ugly, inside and out sloth of a fracking human being. Typical Democrat lawyer from California.
60% of the vote. You think you'll get 60%? Everybody who did not vote for Trump will vote for you. That's what you're
saying. In a general election, yes. If it is me versus a Republican, I think that I will win the people who did not vote for Trump.
And every rat Democrat that votes for her, you deserve what you continue to get. You really do. As for the Antifa, the little Sallys and sissies, I understand why you vote Democrat. You're financed by the government. I know you are.
We do begin, though, in Washington, D.C. at the White House. The president only has one public event on his calendar this afternoon, which is a roundtable discussion. The topic? Antifa. President Trump designated it as a domestic terrorist organization late
Now, you could ask the Sinaloas, who, by the way, just announced that they're going to start killing Americans in destinations in Mexico. Go ahead, go there. That'll be about as good as you think. Why wouldn't they? After all, Antifa, the domestic terrorists, have had cover of media.
In fact, it's not even like far-right groups like the Proud Boys and Oath Keepers, which have had national leaders, unlike Antifa. There is no organized hierarchy to the group. And according to the Center for Strategic and International Studies, compared to right-wing extremists, Antifa-linked violence is rare and limited.
CNN, which is why they suck. Here's the who was told, listen, we put together, as you announced, and we told you not to do that, stupid. We put together the greatest fraud ring in American history. We told you to shut your fracking mouth.
We have put together, I think, the most extensive and inclusive voter fraud organization in the history of American politics.
Now, we told you not to say it, and you said it, stupid. So whatever you do during the debate, don't answer Antifa questions, okay there? Soiled trousers?
I'll tell you what. Somebody's got to do something about Antifa and the left, because this is not a right-wing problem. This is a left-wing.
FBI director
This is a left-wing problem.
White supremacist. Antifa's an idea, not an organization.
Oh, you got it.
Not militia. That's what his FBI director said.
Well, then you know what?
No, we're done, sir.
And then there comes the media to save him, right? What's that dripping down the front of your pants? They ignore it. So this to me would have you believe that the media is trying to tell you that nobody can stand them. Nobody. Understand, a third of this country is on the nipple. They'll vote for a pickle jar if it's a Democrat. Out of that, another 18, 19%, they want to be on the nipple. So they'll vote Democrat. All we've ever had to move this country around is a third. And Trump is doing just fine.
President Trump has spent the first 8 months of his presidency making good on some of his campaign promises. So what do voters think about it, and how could this impact the midterm elections to come? Harry Anton is crunching the numbers on this one. He's here with us now. Harry, it's been almost 1 year since the election. Well, how are voters feeling right now about the president?
You know, sometimes I think it's worth taking that 35,000 vote view. And as far as the American people are concerned, Trump could be better known as Steady Eddie. What are we talking about here? Well, why don't we take a look here? Favorable view of Donald Trump. You know, you go back to October of 2024, 44% of the American public viewed him favorably. Now, despite everything, look at this, 43%, which is well within the margin of error.
So don't worry. The Sinaloas, other street gangs, heroin dealers, welfare roaches, scumbags, and Antifa, they have the Democrats. All the good people, we have Donald Trump. 312-642-5600.
Broadcasting from the petri dish of corruption known as the state of Illinois.
In the upper Midwest, the nation, and around the world.
This is the Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
Honey, I can't deal with this kitchen anymore. It's cramped and everything is outdated.
I know, but it makes no sense to move. I could call my contractor buddy Chad.
Babe, you've seen Chad's house, right?
Yeah, good point.
Plus, he showed up late for his own wedding. Let's get someone who's reliable.
How about Forever Remodeling? They have a team of interior designers, master installers, and project managers all under one roof.
Their reviews on Google look amazing, and homeowners post a ton of pictures of their work.
It looks like they even offer 3D rendering of their projects.
Just like my TV design shows.
Exactly.
Plus, AM 560 listeners get a free in-home design consultation.
From kitchens to bathrooms, basements to whole homes, the design build team at Forever Remodeling takes the stress out of remodeling. They're done on time and guaranteed to match your vision. Visit them online at foreverremodeling.com. That's the number 4everremodeling.com. Forever Remodeling, stress-free and high-quality remodeling.
Be prepared for tax changes in 2025. Without a solid strategy, you could risk losing more of your hard-earned savings than necessary. VestGen Wealth Partners can help develop proactive tax plans designed to help keep more money in your pockets. Visit GetRetiredStayRetired.com for a free review.
Advisory services offered through VestGen Advisors, LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. Securities offered through Private Client Services, LLC, member FINRA and SIPC. Private Client Services and VestGen Advisors, LLC are unaffiliated entities. Any information discussed does not constitute investment advice. VestGen Advisors and Private Client Services do not offer tax legal advice.
AM 560, The Answer.
I can't wait to see who is directly responsible for taxpayer dollars going to this domestic terrorist organization.
Earlier today, you said the mayor of Chicago and the governor of Illinois should be jailed. Have you asked the Justice Department to look at possible charges?
No, I've seen the law. And when you have a group of people where the police call off the safety for ICE officials, I've understood that, and I've read it today in numerous journals, that that's illegal. What they did is I guess it was ICE, Christie, right? They were under threat, and the police were helping beautifully, and it was fine. And then all of a sudden, a woman was on the line saying, everybody, 999. Move back, get out. And they were given an order by the second person in the police department, and the governor knew about it, the mayor knew about it. I understand that's a criminal offense. Do you want to comment on that, Christy?
Yes, sir, we're seeing that kind of pattern happen with local law enforcement and state law enforcement, not just in Illinois, but also out in Oregon, too. In fact, in Portland, I was there yesterday, but some of the ICE officers were telling me that as they drove by the rioters that were saying, kill ICE agents, Molotov cocktails, melt ICE, that the Portland police were cheering them on and had their fists in the air cheering on the rioters that were threatening their lives. So in Chicago, we had a 10-car caravan trail our ICE officials and pin them down. And those ICE officials, to get out of their vehicles, a woman tried to ram them and run them over, and shots were fired to get them to safety. So it's happening on a regular basis, and any elected official that allows this to happen and gives cover to those kind of individuals who are perpetuating murder should absolutely be prosecuted, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Speaking of social media, they're up in arms over George Soros and Open Roads as to whether or not his Open Roads Foundation is supporting terrorist organizations that are anti-America and goes against the better interests of our nation.
So organizations, I can't speak to that directly.
George Soros.
And because I can't comment on whether or not we have an actual investigation.
Okay, that's fair.
Speaking to matters like Antifa.
Boy, do you know how many Democrats in Chicago are nervous right now? They're not just peanut head Kim Foxx, but that bald moron Kwame. How much money from that open George Soros Foundation goes into these Democrats' pockets? And now if the FBI is looking at it all and it stems back to policies voted on by other Democrats, woo-wee! We're just getting started with Letitia.
For example, right? And the new EO that the president signed and their designations giving us authorities that we never had. What we are able to do is the one thing I've done my entire career under investigations: follow the money. Serve legal process and follow the money. These groups just don't show up overnight. You don't have hundreds of people surround a courthouse overnight and then move down to LA and cause riots and then move halfway across the country and cause disruptions in Chicago and elsewhere.
Like Cam Higbee exposed just yesterday.
What's going on out here?
Right now we're just organizing stuff, getting ready for tomorrow.
What's going on tomorrow?
More of the protesting.
Well, what does the protest entail?
We're trying to get ICE to leave and stuff because they're just starting all kinds of issues.
And so I have a question for you. I know you.
Yeah.
From Seattle. What are you doing in Chicago? How'd you get out here?
Wait, I recognize you.
Yeah.
I came down here a little bit ago with one of my friends to do more protests in different areas.
All the way from Seattle, huh?
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting.
And we didn't just come here.
Where else did you go?
We were in California for a little bit, New York, and me and my friend did the No Kings Day rally.
Now we can find the money. What do you think, Joe Biden and that mafia can run cover forever?
It is an organized effort that someone or some groups are paying for. And what I can tell the American people is we have open investigations on multiple groups and individuals funding these efforts. We have legal process that has already been executed. The search warrant results are coming in.
You know, should the U.S. formally designate the domestic groups as terrorist organization? If not, what's, Mr. Director, the right to RICO, material support analogs, or case-by-case prosecutions that avoid...
Didn't Rudy Giuliani and Sidney Powell get hit with a RICO? I think they did, right?
Criminalizing an ideology.
Yes, I think Antifa, specifically speaking, as an example, we have to recognize these groups for what they are. If we as a society just allow these riots to continue, then we as a society are going to be engulfed by the criminal activity these people are doing. LA, you can't attack law enforcement. You can't throw rocks and boulders at law enforcement. You can't in DC assault law enforcement. In Portland, you can't set fire to a federal building and get away with it.
Cash, you forgot the most important part of that. Anymore. You can't do that anymore. But when there were Democrats in charge of it, you could do anything if you're a scumbag. If you're a cartel member, if you're a rapist, if you're a thief, if you're a drug dealer. Those days are over, scumbags. You had your 4 years. Get ready. And if you're in New York, remember.
Imagine North Korea with a dash of Sharia. That's what you got. New York, New York.
Secession by foot. Do it while you can. We'll be back in 21.
It's hard to find a nursing home where Christ-centered care is provided. For over 130 years, Lutheran Life has served the needs of seniors at the Lutheran Home in Arlington.